Good afternoon, ladies and D-gents. We are live and we are back. Yes, sir. Thank you, Producer John. Great to be back. NFL Week 1 picks. As always, Money Mansmann joined by the one and only, looking swag in his sunglasses, Big Bucks Beyta.
Yes, sir. We are back. We are live. I'm here with both my rings. By the way, just want to give a quick shout out to a good buddy of ours. He's also a podcaster with the Triggered Series podcast out on Spotify. Our commissioner, Vitrell Kirkland, got us these big-ass nice fantasy football championship rings.
I mean, look at this shit. That's
Money Mansmann.
That's nice right there.
Money Mansmann.
Here, let me get a little
recent
close
champ.
up.
Yeah, let's get a
I'm
little
telling y'all,
closer.
man, these shits are iced out, boy.
And we are here not only to celebrate the recent
That shit would
additions,
fit none of my fingers.
but we are here. I think we know why we're here. It's week 1, baby. It is Labor Day weekend. Kind of only fitting for us to come back on another federal holiday. But we're back. We're here early. We're here to give out all picks, money line, spreads, and breaking news for myself and Money Mansmann, both giving out over-under picks as well.
Yeah, that's right. I hopped on the over-under bandwagon, so play at your own risk.
Yes, sir. God, the offseason has been not what I expected. I haven't really caught all the games this year, but what I can say is this rookie quarterback year, for what I thought was supposed to be like, with one of the biggest hype trains, a lot of disappointments out there. What has your take been on the offseason this year so far with not just the rookie quarterbacks, but what about your Bills as well?
Well, yeah, I'll get to them. They're the last game on the card. Trying not to overreact to the preseason and some of the storylines. And yeah, a lot of rookie quarterbacks. Couple rookie quarterbacks starting. I think we got, right, C.J. Stroud. We got Bryce Young in Carolina.
Anthony
We got Anthony Richardson. I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody. But point is, you got a bunch of rookies, and going to be interesting to see what those teams do.
Definitely going to be interesting. So speaking of offseason, Mansmann, we're going to have to pick this back up, unfortunately. Last year, the donkey move of the year for Big Bucks Beyta, I took over, what was it, 9.5
Cardinals.
Over 9.5 Cardinals for a case of beer. This year, we are doubling up the bet. So this year, folks, new bet on the line for another case of beer. We're betting on the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, 9.
At 9 even.
Yep, 9.
To meet in the middle. The line was at 9.5. It dropped to 8.5 by the time we actually considered the bet. So we met in the middle at 9. But I saw this clip of the Arizona Cardinals with their head coach. Mansmann, it is just a shame to see how far
I have not seen this, so going to be curious.
All right. Producer John?
Let me turn up the audio a little bit.
Sure.
Might be a little bit loud for the people, but they can always turn their headphones down.
So that's your warning?
That's your
All right.
warning.
By the way, here's your other warning. Just prepare yourself.
Oh, my God.
Who drove over?
Okay, that's not very loud.
That's not loud. Damn
I
it.
think I turned down my YouTube audio. Good Lord.
See, we're it's week 1. We're working out the kinks. Producer
Yep,
John.
Still working it out.
Here.
Yeah, hit.
My Lord.
Yeah, turn that volume up. Just.
Give me a second. I'll have to go back to the...
Anyways, to give the viewers an idea of what we're going at. So this is Arizona Cardinals' new head coach. He's giving a pep talk.
Who drove over here? Quick, let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut? Did you? We're here for a reason. Don't get that twisted. Okay,
Yo,
we're
the
here
way
for a
he
reason
fucking...
to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast. Be who you are. Just understand, I'm looking for killers. Welcome back.
This guy.
Did the Cardinals
Who
post
drove
that?
over
Is
here?
that
Yes.
Are
Yes.
you fucking kidding me?
Who took the
Can
ball?
this? Oh my God!
Yeah, that was a real hype video for the Arizona Cardinals this
Sir,
year.
who the fuck in the NFL is taking the bus to practice?
Who you
As
guys?
soon as they get that bonus, they're buying a fucking $100,000 car.
Bonus. Like,
What does that got to do with a fire in your gut, though? Did you drive here? Did you take the bus? Like, he doesn't. Anybody? Do you know how you got here? Like, I'd be like, I don't know how the fuck I got here.
Receding
I
hairline.
can tell you how the coach got there. It was the short bus.
Oh my
Like
god.
this shit, that was so cringy.
A man
that
with
it-
a receding hairline is saying, I need a bunch of killers.
Just out of nowhere too. Like, he talks about the bus, then he's like, anybody got fire in your gut? Like what? Like heartburn? No, like
All right, you can get rid of the video.
Need some fucking, you need to bring like
Oh
some,
yeah, so I just wanted to start it off with that. That's the team now that we're currently gonna be talking about. That was the team I damn near bet on last year, although it was with Cliff Kingsbury, which you thought it couldn't get worse, and then you see this guy.
yeah. What a disaster.
What a cringy video to start this off. But
So
David Goggins who carries the boats, right?
exactly,
You need to bring that kind of energy if you're going to be talking about, we need killers on our team. It's like, he's like,
that guy couldn't motivate me to make a bologna
Well,
sandwich.
it was just weird because that line was cool, but just everything that came before it was like, shit. Like, oh yeah, you guys take the bus? Like, you got fire in your gut? Like, I'm looking for a guy with
sir,
fire.
that is racist.
It was so weird too because he's like a freaking zombie up there. You got fire in your gut? We're looking for guys with fire in your gut. We want killers. Like, well, what the fuck, bro? Where'd that come from?
Like I said, he could not motivate me to make a bologna sandwich. Like that is pathetic.
He could motivate me to bet against Arizona every game this year.
Which we're gonna get to now. So, week 1, we got 16 games to get through. Like we said, we're gonna do picks. Quick notes I'm gonna throw out there for you guys. Last season, we emphasized this at first. We're gonna emphasize this again. Week 1 is arguably one of the hardest weeks you could bet on.
Why is that, Big Buck?
A lot of the lines are based on a lot of unknowns to start with, and they're also kind of based on past precedences when, in reality, these lines tend to be more inflated. Prime example of that last season, 7 of the 16 games ended in 3 points or less, including a tie and 3 games that ended with 1 point difference. So a lot of these lines tend to be inflated. A lot of these lines just tend to be ridiculous, and it's just hard to bet against something you don't know.
And number 2, to add to that, Vegas best. Vegas has had the entire off season and the entire preseason to set these lines. The sharps have been betting them for months, especially during the dog days of the baseball season. So really, week 1, I always think of it this way. Week 1, hardest week to bet. Week 2, the easiest because of overreaction.
Overreaction Sunday.
Yeah, I love week 2. But yeah, anyway, but my bold prediction for this week, week 1, most winnable week 1 that I can remember in a long time.
Damn. I will say this. A lot of the games, I wonder if I'm overlooking it. I'm wondering if I'm missing something. Some of these games, the ones I'm confident on, I'm not even thinking about turning around. We might fight on a couple, but I think for the most part, whatever we agree on, that's going to be the strongest moves of the week. And, with that said,
Let's get into it.
let's just get into this. Okay, so we got week 1 this coming Thursday night. The reigning, defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs, are hosting the Detroit Lions. FanDuel odds right now, they are the current sports book at Maryland Live Casino. And that's just the odds I'm using here. Money Mansmann will probably bring up DraftKings odds. Regardless, use whatever sportsbook gives you the best odds. These are the lines we are presenting at this time. Odds are subject to change, as are injuries and all that other fun stuff. Anyways, Detroit Lions, 6.5-point dogs. Chiefs are minus 290 on the money line. Over-under right now is at 54.5. Money Mansmann, I'm going to defer this one to you, just out of courtesy, just to get your pick on this.
Tough game. My pick's going to be Kansas City minus 6.5, although sort of a medium level of confidence in this one. The reason why, more really a Detroit handicap. I think Detroit's getting a lot of love this year, coinciding with sort of people thinking that Minnesota's going to take a step back. And if you remember, a lot of people remember sort of the game when Aaron Rodgers got beat Sunday Night Football to not make the playoffs. But if you remember, Detroit kind of had a rocky sort of like middle part of the year, beginning part of the year.
There were talks about Dan Campbell being fired midseason, and actually being the first head coach to be fired, if I remember correctly, before Nathaniel Hackett.
No, you're 100% right. And people have forgotten that. And when you look at it, they lost a really bad game in Carolina to basically take them out of the playoff hunt when they had won a few road games in a row. I think Jared Goff's a better quarterback at home. Don't think he's as good on the road. I think the numbers sort of bore that out last year. And, I mean, let's be honest. The Chiefs, the Big Red Machine just continues on. Andy Reid is back. Patrick Mahomes is back. They were talking last year that it was a rebuilding year for the Chiefs. All they did was go out and win the Super Bowl, and to get them less than a touchdown opening night. I believe the Chiefs also, the trend lines favor them. I think they've won their last like 7 or 8 home openers, and I think they've won like 12 straight games against the NFC. All in all, makes sense. Chiefs under a touchdown. That's my pick for this.
Well, Chiefs had a touchdown. By the way, Detroit Lions money line right now is plus 235 if you're daring, but I'm not daring.
Oh, yeah, Chiefs had a touchdown.
Last year, the defending Super Bowl champs, which were the LA Rams, they got absolutely shithoused in their home debut against the Buffalo Bills. Not only are the Chiefs getting their home debut, at home after winning the Super Bowl, they're getting a lesser team. And as far as I'm aware, their quarterback isn't hurt. He's coming back pretty healthy. And this time around, I'm just expecting it to be different. I think the Chiefs are going to come in and do another statement-type win game. I mean, let's be honest. The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They haven't lost to an NFC team since 2020.
That's crazy.
They've only lost 3 regular season games together since 2018. That last one being 2019 against Green Bay. Prior to that, 2018, Seattle and the LA Rams on Monday Night Football, which is where I'm going to circle back to. That was the last time he played Jared Goff. And it wasn't 13 games. It was 16 straight games against the NFC that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have beaten. They've covered 7 in a row ATS as well against the NFC. Jared Goff is actually my big concern with this one. Goff could shock the world and go into Arrowhead and keep this close. He may even, ball out, because not only considering he did do that last time. Actually, it's not the Chiefs. Goff actually does well against AFC West teams. He's 4-1 ATS. Last loss was the Broncos with the Demaryius Thomas remembrance game.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
You called that game very well. I was actually very skeptical at the time. Previously, though, without that division, he was pretty bad. It was 3-11 and 1 straight up in his last 15. In his time with the Lions, he's only gone 2-7 and 1 straight up, but he did cover 6 and 4. He's covered 3 in a row, and with this 6.5 point spread, it does make me wonder. But the last 2 wins were the Jets and the Jags. I'm not sold.
And if you remember the Jets, it was that 4th and 1. They got that 4th and 1 to win the game.
It's a 1 touchdown spread, and I just think for a game where it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they're going to come in and just mop the floor.
Although I always get scared with the Chiefs covering. Maybe that's why this is a little bit lower on the sort of...
And the Lions did get 2 new cornerbacks. I think Darius Slay is one, and I forget who the other guy was. Kansas City, though, they're too versatile. Compared to a Lions team who, like you said, they struggled early last season. There was talks about Dan Campbell being on the chopping block, and then they just kind of had this random resurgence out of nowhere after that Buffalo game of all things.
I just can't forget that Carolina game when, again, it looked like Detroit, they were in the driver's seat. Carolina was basically playing out the string, and Sam Darnold in that running game just tore them.
Chuba Hubbard, I remember that.
And I just think Detroit, again, you look at them, they didn't make the playoffs last year. Okay, it's still a big spread, but if you think about it, this spread's basically saying what? 4 point Chiefs favored on a neutral?
Yeah,
I don't think
maybe
that's about right. I think the Chiefs are better than 4.
maybe 4, maybe 4.5.
Maybe 4.5. Yes.
I was gonna say I've seen the line jump to 7 even. Like
Oh, and let me just, sorry, I misstated the quote. It was 12 straight as home favorites against the NFC, which is
Gotcha.
why your number was different.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so.
Anyways, over under right now it's at
Yeah.
54.5. I got this game going over, and really it's a handicap of the Chiefs defense. They had a lot of moments where they just struggled against bad teams. I mean, Denver, I think a couple times has played close games for an offense that was absolutely miserable and pathetic. The Jaguars in the playoffs, I know that they kept that close for no reason for a good while. They just tend to give up a lot more points than you would expect. And I think Jared Goff and the offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs with their rookie pickup, but they also have they picked up not Miles Sanders. It was the other. What was the other? David Montgomery.
David Montgomery.
They picked up David Montgomery in free agency. I think that's another two-headed back system that's actually going to be, profitable in fantasy. And I think that between the two, I think they could easily get 20 on their own end. And I just think for the Chiefs to win against a team like Detroit, they're just going to outscore them and beat them down when it's necessary.
Doesn't look like there's going to be Chris Jones either, so that's a big sort of.
That is a
the Chiefs.
big loss for the Chiefs, and I'm praying he stays out for the whole season, especially when the Broncos play. But we'll get to that when that time comes.
Yeah, I endorsed your over pick. I liked it at 54, which is what I had seen earlier in the day. But that's my one danger, and one danger with sort of these primetime games, the game tends to get inflated over. I do think that this could be a high-scoring game because of some of the defensive deficiencies. I mean, Detroit Lions defense. Now, I will say they did play better later in the year, but if you remember, same thing like my
How many points did they give up to Carolina? Like
40.
41, I think.
But I mean, that was sort of their one bad performance. I mean, if you remember in the beginning of the year, Detroit, they were losing every game 41-38. Their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So,
No.
I try not to take too much account in free agency just because I think that's a good way to lose week one. I think a lot of times these sort of off-season winning teams get a lot of hype. Yeah, we're going to get to that game later about hyped up off-season teams. But yeah, so anyway, that was a long way to say I endorse the over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Detroit made some changes on defense. I think even if they do sort of make Detroit's defense better, it'll take a while.
And not to mention, too, there's always the potential of the backdoor cover. If Kansas City's up like 35-10, and it just takes another touchdown and 2-point conversion by Detroit in garbage time, that could easily just sway the over right there. And at 54.5, I'm not saying it's too low, but what I'm saying is for a Jared Goff and a Detroit Lions offense who was known to, not, I want to say get garbage points, they were known to actually have sufficient drives and get the ball in the end zone and have decent red zone targets. I mean, what was it? Jamal Williams last year had how many red zone touchdowns on the one? I could see this being another situation with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
It'll be 56 by game time, so.
It probably
If
will.
you're going to get it now. But
I agree.
yeah, that's all I got for that.
All right, we're going to go into the next game. The San Francisco 49ers no longer have Trey Lance. It is Brock Purdy starting at quarterback. They are traveling to Pittsburgh week 1. 2.5-point favorites, minus 138 on the money line. Pittsburgh Steelers are a plus 118. Over-under is at 40.5. Mansmann, and for all the people out there who are not aware, I love to fade a certain type of game. This is my fade of the week. I am fading the non-conference road favorite in the 49ers, and I am picking the Pittsburgh Steelers to not only cover the 2.5, I am picking them to win. Like I said, this could be Brock Purdy. It could be Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Ronald McDonald, Ronald Mansmann. I don't care who's at quarterback. God rest Ronald Mansmann's soul. Either way, regardless, Steelers plus 2.5. That's the lock. And primarily, this is because they have to play in Pittsburgh. The Niners, if you remembered last year, they struggled on the road. They went 4-5 ATS in road games, 1-4 ATS against the AFC, 1-1 straight up, 0-2 on the road, losing to the Broncos on Thursday Night Football, and they lost to the Raiders. The Steelers actually won and covered both of their NFC opponents at home last season, which was Tampa and New Orleans. And they have won and covered their last 3 against NFC teams. And let's be real. Do you want to fade Mike Tomlin at home? I don't. I usually hate fading that kind of situation to begin with. My only concern is that the Niners numbers I threw out, a majority of those were very early losses in the regular season, missing one big key piece in that offense. That was Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder if Christian McCaffrey coming in week 1 is going to make that difference for this offense. Brock Purdy, he looked really damn good when Christian McCaffrey was playing. It's a very big... The other interesting nugget, this is the first week 1 home opener for the Pittsburgh Steelers since like 2014. Oh, they played a lot of road games on week 1. So I wonder if this is one where they maybe split the bit. But last season as well, when I mentioned that 7 of 16 were covered by 3 points or less, 9 underdogs ended up covering the spread. So I think if history does tend to repeat itself, or even if it is slightly off, I don't like the West Coast team coming over all the way to the East Side, especially for a 1 o'clock game, and expecting them to not only win, but to cover a 2.5. So Pittsburgh Steelers is the play for me.
Gotcha. I endorse this wholeheartedly because I was mentioning that this might be the case. It is dog of the week, Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, now, maybe against some of the trend lines. Strangely enough, the Niners have won their last 11 games as favorites, which doesn't make me too excited. But here's why I like the pick, and I think it's similar. I'm not really sold on the Brock Purdy story. I think he was good last year. I don't know if the Niners are going to be as good this year. I actually have them as a team that I'm sort of looking to fade anyway. So I kind of like your idea of sort of fade of the week. I don't know really how I feel about the Niners. I don't like their sort of quarterback situation and what happened. I don't really like the idea of backing Brock Purdy coming off of that, elbow injury week 1 on the road. And I expect Pittsburgh to be solid. They were playing better football at the end of last year. Now you might say, Jason, didn't you just say Detroit, we should throw that out? Difference is you had a rookie quarterback who was playing much more solid football. I like the direction Pittsburgh's going. You like their coach. I like them to be solid at home week 1, 100%.
And not to mention, too, I know we say don't overreact to the preseason, but this with second-year quarterbacks, you either get a regression or progression, and everything from the preseason has told me George Pickens, Kenny Pickett, they're progressing in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So I really like them to come at home. I would play the 2.5 before I play the money line.
Now, here's a pro strategy, what you should do. And I can't take credit for this. This is one of the podcasts I listen to. That this is a strategy that I got from them. So pure sort of theft here. What you should do if you're really interested in playing this game, you wait till later in the week and see if you get a 3. Because if it goes down to 2, 1.5, unless you're playing sort of the money line, maybe you'd want to lock in the money line now. But if you're going to play the spread, 2, 1.5 really doesn't make that much of a difference. Whereas if you wait, you might be able to get 3. And then obviously, the value of a 3 in this game where, I don't, if the Niners were to win, I don't see them winning by
the closing line value, or CLV, as you might hear in other shows, would actually benefit you more if you do wait. But that's also part of gambling. Is that closing line value going to go up? Is it going to go down? Yeah. Are you going to get 3? Right now at 2.5, and with the Steelers at home, West Coast coming over, with Brock Purdy coming off that injury, I
like the Steelers.
Also the Steelers too. TJ Watt's coming back. The Steelers win games with TJ Watt. Like, say what you will, it's just a weird stat that happens. So, yeah, give me the Steelers all day here.
Yeah.
All right.
And the quick over-under, this is actually... yes.
I
guess I'll do this one. I'll go sort of first with that. Like the under, like it a lot. This is a really high confidence play. Not my sort of best over-under pick, but expecting a low-scoring game, expecting a lot of run between these two teams. San Francisco coming over, maybe a little sluggish. Not expecting a lot of turnovers, which could really drive the point total. So I have it at 41. I think that's what you said.
It's at 40.5, so 41 would be.
Okay, 40.5, 40.
I lean over. This is like one of my least confident over-under picks, so I would actually advise you to listen to Mansmann here. But
yeah,
the only reason is...
By the way, 8 of the last 9 games for the Niners, I believe, have gone under the total. So.
I think that is true. My only concern is if this Steelers offense does have a resurgence and they pick it up. that could actually drive the point total to like more towards the over. Because I could see this being like a 24, or not 24. I would say, we could say it's a 24-17. And that's 41, and that just pushes.
I actually think the half point is really big, so you might want to play it. I have the DraftKings numbers that I got this morning. So, again, might depend on your book, but I would definitely try and get something. I think the 41 to 40.5 is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I lean over on the 40.5, but if it does go up to 41, 42, hit the under. I'm with you on that. All right, so we got the third game here. It's your favorite division of all time, the NFC South. Carolina Panthers, rookie debut for Bryce Young, going up against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta with Desmond Ridder at quarterback. Carolina's a 3.5-point road dog at plus 148. Falcons are minus 176. Over-under is now, it went from 42.5 to 39.5. Mansmann, do you want the spread pick first, or do you want the money line pick first?
Well, I think it's my turn. So yeah, because you went first the last time. So I think what we'll do is, just for future reference now, I'll do like the spread pick, and then you do your spread, and then the over-under, so it's like alternated.
Sure,
So
okay.
We'll just alternate that way.
Mansmann.
Yeah, I think we're going to fight about this game because I'm pretty sure you didn't agree with me here. Carolina was close to being my dog of the week. I am going to go with them plus 3.5. I'm just not a big fan of the Falcons. The Panthers have actually covered the last 4 games as underdogs against the Falcons. But this is more of an Atlanta play. I'm just not. I know a lot of people are really sort of sold on this Falcons team. I still think they have a major problem at quarterback. I'm not sold on Desmond Ridder. I think Bryce Young is at least comparable to whatever the Panthers had sort of last year. And yeah, I mean, I don't need the Panthers to win. I could see this as a really close, low-scoring game. I actually lean to the under, but I won't give more about that because I know that
we can talk.
But no, I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm expecting this to be like an NFC South low-scoring game, 2 sort of young quarterbacks trying to find their way, and considering sort of the past results and Carolina's performances against the Falcons, and I remember, I think I got bit or almost got bit by one of those plays sort of early.
It was the first matchup they had, because the second matchup I got wrecked.
Yeah, so in this case, I am going to roll with the Panthers. Give me the kid. Give me Bryce Young, 3.5 on the road.
So, all right, so let's fight about this. My money line pick. I am picking the Falcons to win this. Atlanta has been really good at home against Carolina. They've gone 6-2 straight up in their last 8. In fact, all around in their last 10, they've gone 7-3. This is a Bryce Young debut game, and here's the fun fact. There's 8 current NFL quarterbacks right now who made their debut on week 1. Those quarterbacks are Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson. All of which have one thing in common other than making their rookie debut on week 1.
Lost.
They all lost. You could technically include Daniel Jones if you want to get cute, but he came in late for Eli Manning when the game was already over. So I don't want to say that. The last rookie debut of note for somebody who's still in the league was Marcus Mariota. And you want to know why there's an asterisk next to that? He debuted against another rookie quarterback, Jameis Winston,
yeah,
and he beat him. So somebody had to win that game. So, like, with that said, just kind of off precedence, the Falcons to win with experience. They did get Bijan Robinson, so I think they will get the run game going even more than they already do. If Desmond Ridder even looks half as better as he did last year, I think that could make a difference as well. But I am with you on this. Panthers plus 3.5 is the play. Oh, that's the move.
Wow.
That's the one you need to make.
Surprise.
And Desmond Ridder, I can't stand this guy, and not in a personal way. He has a 2-2 record stat wise, but like if you even looked at half the games he played, he looked maybe even worse or just as bad as Deshaun Watson did last year. And as you know, I was very down on Deshaun Watson. Ritter failed to get over 225 passing yards in all 4 of those games. He only cracked above 10 rushing yards in that first game he ever played in. He may not have thrown an interception, but he had 3 straight games where he had a fumble. Yeah. This guy is not NFL quality.
Whereas Bryce Young's pro ready.
I mean, he may screw up too, but like I said, I like Bryce Young over any of the other rookie quarterbacks.
It needs to be sort of solid and serviceable. Which
for those of you who checked out our futures videos, you'll know that I was actually high on Bryce Young. And Desmond Ritter, his only 2 touchdowns were against the Bucs in Week 18. That was after they benched all their fucking starters and they played like backups and third stringers. And Bijan Robinson is like putting a Band-Aid on the bigger issue, which is that they don't have a quarterback. You're not going to win a lot of football games if you don't have a quarterback who is at the NFL level. And that's just my handicap. Like Carolina plus 3.5 plus a field goal. Like I don't know if Carolina wins this game. But could this be like a 16-14, 17-14 type of game? Yeah, I think so. And that's why, I hit heavy on the under here at 42.5. I don't see 2 touchdowns on either side. I don't even see more than that.
Yeah, if you got it at 42.5, that's good. I got to correct myself because I originally said the under. I made a mistake. I actually played the over, and I forgot my reason.
It was 39.5. It dropped 3 points.
Yeah, I got it over 39.5, and here was my reason for doing that. This is why you have notes. Because I forgot what my thinking was on that. Number 1, the low total. Number 2, you have 2 young quarterbacks. I could see there being a few nerves, especially on the Atlanta side, and I could see a couple quick turnover scores in this game.
Oh, so you
especially from Desmond Ritter.
Oh, so you think it could be like pick six city, fumble
or like
recovery,
a fumble in his deep end, and the Panthers score like a quick touchdown? Yeah, I could 100% see it. Now, I think Bryce Young will be serviceable, but he could have a rookie mistake.
We're gonna steal producer John's soundboard here real quick, but maybe I didn't break it.
Maybe he's gonna break the soundboard.
Nah, nope.
Big bucks.
Here we go. Just
we'll do it live.
Yep. There we go.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
See, we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's Steve the Bull of Beyta, El Toro.
There you go.
But okay.
But yeah, no. But bottom line, like Carolina plus 3.5 is the play. I don't know if you play that money line though. That unlike the Steelers game, this is a game I think either side could just easily lose.
No, the 3 in the hook is big. So
all right, here we go. Next big game: the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud are traveling into Baltimore, our hometown. They're coming in as 10-point road dogs. They're plus 360 on the money line. Ravens are minus 460. Over-under is now at 43.5. Monty Mansmann, may I introduce to you my best bet, favorite of the week.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Baltimore Ravens minus 10. It's a Barney best.
No, that's a mistake.
I disagree.
This is really bad. This is like
already?
really
we're going to fight already.
This is a really bad pick. This is like a horrible
CJ,
pick.
okay, hold on. So let me get this straight. Week 1 Ravens.
Lamar hasn't played in...
Okay, they said that how many years ago when he fucking dropped a 40 piece on the Dolphins?
Okay.
I mean...
Okay, no, I'll let you go. You go.
So week 1 Ravens. You have a rookie debut in C.J. Stroud, who, by the way, he's also looked like dog shit in the preseason.
That's mistake 1.
And it's Houston Texans. They've been really bad.
Well, that's true.
I get this is the highest spread. This could be a ladder type situation. I may bet this to minus 11.5, 12.5, 13.5.
See, that's insane.
Say what you want. Lamar Jackson, even if he is a running back who can throw, he's going up against the worst rush defense of all time. They allowed the most rushing yards per game at 170 a game. They averaged a touchdown and a half rushing, which was the second worst in the league. You want to bet on a week with Lamar being able to throw. I mean, he averages 3 touchdowns on week 1 each time.
I will say the trend lines are all in your favor. The Ravens have been very good in season openers.
And that's the key. It's the season opener. They're at home. They're getting the Texans. They're getting a rookie quarterback. And 10 points It is the highest, but I'm on the side of like this could be higher. I would be willing to bet this more. And I would ladder bet this. I don't know if I would get 13.5, but if I got 11.5, 10.5, 9.5, I mean, I could still end up
Remember,
profiting.
we thought about a Houston bet week 1 last year.
The Colts.
Didn't work out.
Okay, but that
very
was
well
the
for you.
Colts. Like,
Didn't
we
work
didn't
out
know
very
what
well for you.
we didn't know what Matt Ryan was going to be, even though you knew. I didn't know.
I knew
We've seen Lamar.
I knew what Matt Ryan was.
Okay, but we've seen Lamar. We know what he can do. You know, the last six week 1 games, you know, they've won and the Ravens have allowed 10 points or less. So the Ravens defense, last I checked, like, they're not completely injured anymore. They're all coming back healthy. We've seen the Houston Texans since Deshaun Watson left. They haven't done dick. I mean, like, I know the Ravens lost, what was it, to Vegas in 2021? That was a tight-knit game. That was in Vegas. Ravens are at home. I just don't...
I mean, I will say it's a tough place for
What's your
TJ
argument
Stroud
for
to make.
Houston? I don't get this.
This is one of those, and look, here's what I'll say. Low confidence for me. I actually lean to the Texans. I've had a bad feeling about this number from the beginning. Number 1, Lamar Jackson coming back after a long layoff. Number 2, I just expect the Texans to be, you know how like with Dan Campbell, you expected the Lions to be like a more feisty team?
Right.
I just expect D'Amico Ryans to bring like a feistiness to this team. And at least like for this...
Yeah, how'd that work for Dan Campbell in the first half of last season?
They were in every game. They covered the spread.
But they lost every game.
Okay, I'm not betting them. I didn't say I was betting Houston money line. That would be insanity. But at 10 points, I could see Houston being feisty here. 9-point loss, 8-point loss.
Not with a rookie quarterback. Maybe with Davis Mills if he was back and actually had
Davis
talent.
Mills is below serviceable. Now, I don't think C.J. Stroud's going to be any good. But I could see this being
So hang on,
feisty
wait.
game.
So you expect this team to be feisty and CJ Stroud to not be good, but you expect them to cover 10.
Well,
tell me how that makes sense.
Okay, Damon Pierce liked his running. I like their running game. They have Devin Singletary now, so they'll have a decent.
Wait.
game.
You hated Devin Singletary when he was a Buffalo
He's
Bill.
better than whatever the hell Houston has. I didn't say he was good for the Bills. He's better than like dog shit, which is what they had. What Rex Burkhead?
You know the Texans have been really bad in week 1 too.
Yes,
right?
I know that.
You know they've been bad on the road since Deshaun Watson
That's
left.
why this is, look, here's what I'll say. That's why this is low confidence. I know I'm going against all the trend lines that say Baltimore's really good week 1 and Houston isn't.
You know the last time they won a road game that wasn't a divisional opponent?
No, I don't. But
Detroit, 2020, November.
that's bad. I'm not saying they're going to win.
I know you're not,
The
but
10 points really, I think this is a bad sort of like lock of the week, best bet, because
you're worried about the 10.
I'm more concerned about what Baltimore is going to look like because a lot of people really like Baltimore. I am not in that camp.
See, it's not that I'm like in love with Baltimore, but I'll say this. They finally upgraded at wide receiver. They got OBJ. They got Zay Flowers.
Yeah, too bad they didn't upgrade a quarterback.
But Lamar Jackson is
Did he
very...
throw?
Yes, he's been known to throw against bad teams, and Houston Texans are a bad team. That's why 10 points just isn't... If this was 14.5, I'd think about hearing you out. 10 points?
Coming off the injury?
Ravens could win by 30.
I mean, they can.
That's my thing. The Ravens could win by
Look,
30.
I could look stupid. And you know what? Sometimes
Sometimes taking a bold bet means you got to look stupid.
Oh, I guess I'm second. So I will say...
Day.
Is that what it?
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you can't be afraid of that. I mean,
God damn you.
now what I will say is I do expect this game to go over because again I could see some sort of sloppy play from Lamar, sloppy play from the quarterback.
At least we agree on one
The
thing.
line's only 43.5, which is
It's gone down. It was at 44.
I like the over under a lot better in this one, so I'll go with the over.
I'm with you there, and it's the same handicap in my eyes. Like, I don't think this will be bad Ravens defense. I just think the offense will explode. This could be 44-0. and the over would hit. It could be 40-10 that over would hit. Like, I'm not saying the Texans have to do anything spectacular. Dameon Pierce could have 100 yards and a tutty and a field goal, and that could be enough to help out.
I mean, do we know about this Baltimore defense? Like, are they any good?
I mean, they got Marcus Peters back. They got Roquan Smith for the season.
I guess.
I think now that they got a full training camp, now that they're going to get a full season together, now the question is, can they stay healthy? That's the question we have every year. But like I said, this is week 1. They're getting a rookie quarterback. They're getting a horrible Houston Texans team. Like, they remind me a lot of the Colorado Rockies, sadly. The Texans, I feel like they're going to come out, yeah, I think we could be a 500 team.
I will say one thing that supports you, and this is if I'm wrong about the spread, like the over's even better. Because I think I could be right about the spread, and it could be a feisty sort of game that, 27-17, something like that, 27-20, couple Lamar turnovers. But the Ravens are bullies. Like, if it's 34.
John Harbaugh will not only go for it on 4th, he'll go for the touchdown.
Yeah, like, they will be bullies, especially if they get up big in this game. Like,
the best kicker in the fucking league, Justin Tucker. You think he won't put him out there for a 60-yarder with, 3 minutes to go, up 30? They'll do it. Like, they don't care.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay, here's another game I think we're going to fight about. Cincinnati Bengals. Questionable status on Joe Burrow. They're traveling to Cleveland. They're 2.5-point favorites, -134. The Browns are +114. Dogs at home. Over under, though, 47.5. I'm going to keep this one brief. It should be a no bet, but not me. This was part of my big early season parlay. Because we all know Cincy gets off to a slow start at the beginning of the season. There is a lot of uncertainty with Joe Burrow. I still have him improving on Deshaun Watson. The Browns are just not worth betting on until Deshaun Watson proves me otherwise. I'm taking the Bengals here. I'm taking them with the spread. I'm taking them on the money line. I do think the money line bet is worth more value in terms of, what you're going to get back for your money. A year and a half ago, the Bengals lost a very similar game straight up as a home favorite against Cleveland. That was with Baker Mayfield. And now you're getting Deshaun Watson, who, if you're a believer that Deshaun Watson is going to regress back to, Houston Texans Deshaun Watson, that sounds like a pretty good stat. But this is the Watson I remember. I remember the Deshaun Watson whose best game was against the Washington Commanders. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He only went 9-18. 50% for 169 passing yards and got sacked 5 times. I remember this Deshaun Watson who gave up the only career loss for the Browns for Joe Burrow. This is the same Deshaun Watson whose only other road win was in his return game against Houston. The same Houston Texans team we just talked about earlier. By the way, not a single offensive touchdown that game. That was all defense and special teams. I can't bet my money on Cleveland. Not only does it not seem right, it just seems criminal to try to advertise why Cleveland would win this game. Other than the fact that there's some historical precedents, none of which involves their current quarterback, Deshaun Watson. So my pick, Cincinnati Bengals, probably lower on the confidence level. And at 2.5, it's just one of those games where if you are a believer in Cleveland, you're like, oh my God, they're giving me 2.5. That just seems like a deal. And it's well, wait a minute. When Joe Burrow ends up starting and Joe Mixon plays and you remember that Eli Apple's gone and they have a better cornerback. Oh, wait, and Deshaun Watson can't throw and he gets sacked again. You're going to look like a fucking idiot. So, yeah, give me the Bengals all day.
Yeah, this a no bet for me. Probably lean Cleveland just because of the history. Joe Burrow struggling against Cleveland. But honestly, I mean, you can't really play it for me just because there's too much question, and I won't take too long with this, too much question about the quarterbacks. I don't know if, I would assume Joe Burrow's going to play. I don't know what type of Joe Burrow we're getting. Obviously, Deshaun Watson. If we see last year Deshaun Watson, Cincinnati's could very easily, run away with this game. But a lot of questions at quarterback. too many questions to play, so I don't want to do it. Even the over-under, I would lean to the under just because, again, I think both quarterbacks may struggle in this game.
Nice segue into my pick. This is my under of the week, under 47.5. This is too much. It's too much. This is a Deshaun Watson is still bad, but this is also a hedge on the Joe Burrow situation. If they end up having to play their backup, which, I mean, last I heard, I think it was Brandon Allen, but I don't remember who their backup is.
Matter who it is.
I don't think it would matter even if Joe Burrow played. Historically, he struggled against this Cleveland Browns team. I don't think 47.5 points is like achievable for this type of matchup.
Especially coming off the injury. You don't know if you're even going to get 100% Joe Burrow.
Which actually segues into my next handicap. This is a prop bet I'm actually going to advertise. Nick Chubb over rushing yards. I don't care what the number is, hit it. Because you're going to get a Deshaun Watson where there's a potential that he can't throw for shit. So they're going to have to really rely on the run game with Nick Chubb. I could see Nick Chubb going 120, 130 yards, but still losing.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a anti-Deshaun Watson, anti-over-under, like anti-over. That's why I hit the under. Because if they're going to run the ball a lot, that's going to kill a lot of clock in this game. So under of the week, under 47.5 for the Cleveland Browns and Bengals game. I do want to say Cincy is the play, but like I said, confidence level, without knowing where Joe Burrow is at this point in his recovery, don't know if you could play it right now. But unfortunately, when he originally got hurt and the line got bet down to 1, I did play it in a parlay and got it at -1. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
So if it does pan out, it's going to be a good day.
Good timing, yeah.
Could be a good time. All right. Next game, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're traveling to Minnesota. Tampa's got a new quarterback in Baker Mayfield. And Minnesota still has Kirk Cousins. Vikings -6 point spread right now as a favorite, -245. The Bucks are 2-1 underdogs right now, plus 200. Over-unders at 45.5. Monty Mansmann, give us your take. Bucks at the Vikings.
Best bet, Minnesota Vikings.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that is bold.
I do not agree with the people who have sort of written Minnesota off as not being very good. There's a lot of those people out there. Basically, I know they cite the stats that Minnesota got lucky and they won a lot of close games last year. This Tampa Bay Bucks team is going to be...
Their DVOA was garbage.
Yeah, the DVOA was garbage, and they're no good. And
which, Mansman, remind the people what DVOA is.
Oh, yeah. It's like a defense value added. So basically goes... I don't know the exact calculations, but they take all of the plays and basically calculate sort of the wins above replacement that, defense adds. And they had their DVOA as sort of bottom in the league, meaning that they didn't have a good defense. I think their offense, they had about average. And a lot of times what short people do, you look at the sort of teams that won a lot of close games last year, and a lot of times they predict them as sort of being 50-50 type games. So the regression to the mean, if you go like 8-1 in close games, the expectation is that the next year you're going to struggle. I don't think Tampa Bay's good. Like, Baker Mayfield is their starting quarterback. Like, this guy's not a good quarterback. And with Tom Brady, they won the division, but they weren't very good last year.
Well, okay, so let's stop right there. They won the division, but, like, how bad was Brady? Might have been his worst year.
Yeah, not good. Not good. And they won a division. We say they won a division. I mean, let's be honest.
They beat...
I think second place was like 6-10. So
they beat Carolina, Atlanta...
New Orleans,
who was on... Yeah.
We'll get to New Orleans.
But,
yeah, this is my best bet. I like Minnesota's offense. I think they're a much better team. We talked about it in the over-under video. And under a touchdown, I think this could be a blowout win for the Vikings.
So, my handicap here, this is a spot play. And what I mean by a spot play is that if it were any other circumstance or if there was any other time slot, I would probably reconsider all of this. But let's consider the spot. You want to bet if you're a Buccaneers bettor, if you're out there and you're thinking, I think Baker Mayfield's going to be a good NFC quarterback. I think Baker Mayfield could beat this Vikings team. Their DVOA sucks. Okay, so let's bet against Kirk Cousins.
1:00
in a 1:00 home game. Considering he's 27-13 straight up at home with the Vikings, not including time. He was 10-1 last year in 1 o'clock games. 8-1 at home. But you want to bet on Baker, which, okay, well, let's see what Baker can do. He's 10-12 all time against NFC teams. He's 1-5 straight up as a Panther and a Ram last season against NFC teams. What was that one bullshit win? The Raider. That was an AFC team, so that doesn't even matter. My question, and this is my concern, this is why it wasn't one of my best picks, that 6-point spread. I'm very concerned about that. The Vikings were 4-5 ATS last season at home. They failed to cover their last 3. The highest spread that they did cover was 4 against Arizona. This is where, like, I think where some of the other people talking, it's going to come down to that Vikings defense. And the Vikings are a top 10 offense, but that defense, I think, as you said it before, they love to spit the bit. They love to fucking just choke it away. The New York Giants twice, the Indianapolis Colts come back, but, you know, they wouldn't have had to come back if they didn't give up, 35 points in the first half. The Bills game, they gave up a lot of points.
They still won that on the road.
They did win, but that's my point is the spread.
Buffalo.
My point is the spread. The defense tends to give up a lot to, you know.
Although in my defense, knew I was missing a stat. Bucks failed to cover last 6 on the road. And let's be honest.
And the Vikings have failed to cover 4 of their last 5 against the NFC South.
Who do you think's better, Tom Brady last year or Baker Mayfield? Because I'd still go with Tom Brady last year.
I would lean Brady, but not by much.
Not by much, but
Not by much.
I don't think Tampa's.
Brady got the benefit of a full season to play. Baker kind of got pulled, and
I hope the line goes down, please, Buccaneers.
if this line goes down, I would probably lean bet on the Vikings. But this 6-point spread, it scares me. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that it is going down, and this is your best bet, Money Mansmann, I'm going to co-sign with you. I will take the -6 here. If this goes to 7.5, I'm going to lean the other way and say you might want to bet Tampa. And kind of partial precedents where a lot of underdogs ended up covering last season in week 1. And Tampa might even end up being a better defensive team than we expected than last year. Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded coach. And if he literally prepares for this offense and nothing else, I mean, they don't have Adam Thielen. If you stop Justin Jefferson, they don't have Dalvin Cook anymore.
I think Jordan.
You have to stop Jordan.
I think Jordan Addison's going to be a stud. That's why we made that trade in fantasy.
Yes,
I think Jordan Addison is going to be.
Jordan Addison could be a stud for this team. I think I'm not saying he's the next JJ, but I think if Adam Thielen was going to be replaced, Jordan Addison's your guy.
I wanted the Bills to draft Jordan Addison.
Yeah,
that's the conversation for another day.
So leaning into the scoring here, though, and with the Vikings, really good offense, mediocre to terrible defense. This is my over of the week, 45.5.
Oh, wow.
Baker Mayfield, in his last few games, actually looked pretty competent. He did end up leading a bunch of successful drives. And he has a really good wideout core with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I could see the Bucks leading a close game. I could see the Vikings winning by a touchdown. That would get the cover, but I could see this over happening by halftime.
And I went under for the opposite reason. I think it's going to be a laugher, and I'm concerned that Tampa's not going to be able to do anything. Like, I could see the Vikings scoring 30 points and this being like a 30 to 10.
But even if that's the case, Vikings games, 27-7-1 on the over.
Yeah, I know I'm going against the trend.
Yeah, 5-6 on the over in the last 6 games in the NFC South. Yeah. So I just think that
low confidence on my end. Like, if this is your best, you're much better at all.
This is my over of the week. Yeah. You know, in conjunction with my under in the last game. All right, this is your moment. I know you've been waiting for it. We watched the video in the beginning of the episode. Arizona Cardinals and Colt McCoy. Oh wait, Colt McCoy got dropped for Joshua fucking Dobbs.
Not even in training camp.
No. Play that one more time.
Play it again.
Day.
Not even in training camp, Joshua Dobbs.
No.
Not even in training camp. And he's your starting quarterback.
And he's a 7-point dog. 7-point road dog plus 265 for the Cardinals. The commies.
Sam,
No more Dan
I
Snyder.
think they did even copyright that when I played the commie anthem for Dan Snyder.
So wait, they copyrighted the communist song, but they
I
didn't.
think so.
That's not even like the Commander song. That's just.
goddamn Putin.
Wait, no. So the Communist Party copyrighted their song. That's not very communist of them.
Seriously, that's a very
I'll have to
decadent
check on that,
capitalist
'cause that
move.
is
That's a
pretty
pretty
funny.
capitalist move, commies. That's
That's a
all.
pretty funny T-shirt right there is what that is.
We should get that on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
that.
funny.
Speaking of T-shirts, got Harbor Discussions like merch on the way and shit. I got stickers like literally in production. So
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll start repping these.
Yeah, producer John is going.
Oh yeah, we're gonna give him his moment here.
Sure, yeah. I've been I got out of the basement and I started doing interviews outside of like venues in Baltimore, such as the Auto Bar, which was on the top 10 Rolling Stone venues in America. Yeah. Also Metro Gallery. Well, I believe it's just called the Metro now, but it was called Metro Gallery at one point. Studio 14, which is like a recording space. It's been a while since I've been like. I just recently interviewed a rapper from Germantown, like literally this week. But before that, I haven't been doing podcasts in the basement for a couple months. So I've been going out to the shows and whatnot. I just interviewed War on Women, Redacted, Consumer Culture, Jerry Lewis. Trying to think of who else.
Yeah, you've been busy, man.
Yeah, Knife Wound, Simulacra, Ballista, Combust. Well, I interviewed the vocalist, Andrew from Combust. Yeah, I have been busy.
Yeah, you've been busy.
But, you know, it's been a lot easier to get several interviews done. Because, like, when you go to a show, you got all the bands there at once. It's hard to get people to come out all the way here to Westminster. So when I go out to the city and meet the bands, it's a little bit easier. So go over to the Harbor Discussions YouTube channel. You'll be able to find interviews with hardcore bands, rappers, actors, business owners. And I do have merchandise on the way. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, I just got the designs from Spoiled by Hate on Instagram is his name. I forget what his actual name was, but from what he told me, he's from Indonesia. I hit him up. He gave me 2 designs for an excellent rate. He had already made up the designs, and I kind of had him adjust it to my logos and whatnot. And I also have a design coming from John Mayo, who is a big artist in the hardcore community.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Open it
go.
up.
Thank you, producer John. Shout out to everyone there. Shout out to the
absolutely.
Harbor Discussions channel.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get
Commies,
back into
yeah.
this.
Commies.
All right, commies game. The commies. Why are they? Yeah, here's my question. I'll pose to you, man. Why is Sam Howell and the commies a 7-point spread favorite?
Like, are you saying why aren't they a higher spread favorite, or why is
You could take it however you want, but that's my question. Why are they 7-point favorites?
Well, I mean, this is sort of my danger Barney play because I do like the commies -7. It's such a Barney play, but come on. I mean, you went through the entire training camp and decided, yeah, we don't have a starting quarterback here. We're literally going to pick somebody up off the scrap heap, like.
Well, let's leave
week
that
before
for
the
a
season
minute. Let's
starts.
leave that for a minute. You go through training camp. Kyler Murray's still unable to play. He's on the PUP list. He's physically unable to play. You have Colt McCoy, who's been there for, 3-4 years now? Go.
Clearly, it's a tank move. I mean, people think it's a tank move because Colt McCoy, he didn't even. Here's how stupid the Cardinals are. He didn't play the last preseason game. Like, normally your starters don't play the last preseason game.
Right.
They held Colt McCoy out of the game and then cut him. That's how fucking bad the Cardinals are.
I don't fucking get it.
That's how bad. I don't care. The commies, Dan Snyder's gone. They have a legitimate coach. We listened to Knob before the video started. This is a no-brainer.
You go to hell! You go to hell and you die!
There you go. Just
No-brainer. No-brainer. Washington commies. I know the trend lines are bad. Cardinals have actually been very good against the NFC East. I think they covered
7-0 ATS.
Yeah, they've like covered the last 7. I'm pretty sure they're pretty decent in like season opening games too. I forgot what the exact.
I didn't really get into that, but
anyway, commies. That's my choice. Here.
Okay, so I'll revert back to my last question. My original thought with this game: why the hell is Sam Howell a 7-point favorite? Then you remember the Cardinals are the odds favorite for the worst team in the league. They were the lowest over-under at 4.5. Then I said, okay, what about Kyler Murray? He's coming back, right? Nope, he's still on the PUP list. He's not coming back for another 4 weeks. Okay, they're still 12. Okay, like, who's their backup? Colt McCoy. I know he's serviceable. Oh, no. They cut him for Joshua Dobbs, like we mentioned. And then you go to the preseason, you're not trying to overreact. You look at Sam Howell, and Sam Howell actually looked pretty damn good. You know, do you see where I'm going to go with this? Like, you look for every reason to go against the commies, and you just see the Cardinals, and it's just a dumpster fire. It's trash. Like, down here. Like, you can't. Like, and even with those numbers, with the 7-0 against the, that was with Kyler. Kyler's not playing. You're getting Joshua Dobbs, no preseason experience with this Arizona Cardinals team. He's just got this week to prep.
They say he knows the offense.
He knows how to throw a ball. He knows how to hand it off. I mean, yeah, he's been around the league for a while, but are you like fucking kidding me? Like, this might be the worst NFL. This Cardinals team might go.
They're going to be really bad.
They might go 0-7.
They're tanking. I mean, to be think about it. If you're a 7-point dog against like Sam Howell, I mean, what would the Chiefs line be? 17.5, 20.5,
14. I mean,
this is bad. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. Oh, by the way, it was 4 straight road openers for the Cardinals that they covered.
That point cover is a concern of mine. I will admit that was my first thought.
Like you said, that's Cliff Kingsbury. That's
Cliff
Kyler
Kingsbury.
Murray.
That's Kyler.
And as bad as I hate Midget Boy,
and even before Midget Boy, it was what not Carson Palmer. I forget. That was even
it was
before
at least
him.
somebody like who was an NFL quarterback. I mean, Joshua Dobbs. He was the guy who the Titans turned to try and.
I mean, God, I'm trying to think. Who were the past Cardinals quarterbacks? Who was that idiot they drafted?
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. He covered a spread, like.
Maybe. Well, yeah.
I mean, would it surprise me if Dobbs came in and did like a performance he did with the Titans in, what was it, week 17 against the Jags?
Titans at least had Derrick Henry. Who do the Cardinals have? I mean,
James Conner.
Literally. Okay.
Marquise Brown. I would say Hollywood Brown, but he doesn't deserve Hollywood.
No, he's
No, that's Marquise.
Yeah, it's Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz is probably out. I'm trying to think.
Why would he even, honestly, why even play for that team? They're tanking, so.
Did you get on the bus today? Did you get...
You got fire in your stomach? Like heartburn?
What?
Yeah, you're going to have heartburn watching this fucking team.
Ugh.
This will not be a game. First off, NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube. Yeah, you need to get it. If you live in the Washington, D.C. area, this is why you need NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube.
Just for it to be blacked out?
Like, literally? No, I'm saying, like, you need to watch games other than this or you might kill yourself.
That's fair. Okay.
Over, under?
Over, under. I'm going under 39. Sam Howell, I know he's not a rookie quarterback. This is his second year, but this is me not trying to overblow preseason with how good he looked. He looked good against second and third stringers. Arizona did get Budda Baker back.
I mean, the good news is they're playing a team of second stringers, so.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think Sam Howell's going to, like, ball out in this game. Do I think he game manages it? Do I think he's successful? Yeah. Could I see this being, like, a 20-7 type game? Yeah. Like, I don't imagine a lot of scoring
23-6 is just. Yeah, I'm under.
Oh, yeah.
Under as well.
Under. All right. Let's go. We're going to fight on this one. I already know we are. But Tennessee Titans traveling to the New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
They're
we're-
3-point road dogs. The Titans are plus 140 on the money line. The Saints are minus 166. Over-unders at 41.5. All right. Let's talk about Derek Carr. So, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, we took a spread. We took a team wins bet at 9 even. Over under 9. I got the under. Mansmann has the over for a case of beer. Let's, for the sake of argument, let's just forget that this is an AFC quarterback going into the NFC. And let's just forget the passing yards numbers because we all know Derek Carr does have a lot of passing yards. The guy's not a winner. He just isn't. You want to sit here and say Midget Boy isn't a winner. You want to say Baker Mayfield's not a winner. Derek Carr, in the 9 seasons he's been an NFL quarterback, he's only had 2 winning seasons. He's 63-79 as a starter, under 50%. He's tied for the most interceptions in back-to-back seasons. Only a 60% completion percentage rating, lower than Davis Mills, higher than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields by less than 0.5%. I'm not going to bet on this guy who lost to Jeff Saturday. I'm not backing a quarterback who's gone 3-8 against the AFC South. He's only beaten Jacksonville and Houston when they were dog shit. I'm not going to back a quarterback who lost his job at the Raiders to Jared Stidham when crock of shit head coach Josh McDaniels was in charge.
Well, thank you. I mean,
but he also had the best running back and best wide receiver in the league. Arguably one of the best wide receivers. Josh Jacobs was the number 1 receiver. And even the year before that, Hunter Renfrow, do you remember how relevant he was 2 years ago? I mean, he had him at the helm and he still fucking ended up losing. I'm not going to back this head coach and Dennis Allen. 3 straight losing seasons as a head coach. He got fired by the Raiders too. And he's 15-38 as a head coach. You want me to bet on them when I can get Mike Vrabel? Playoffs 3 out of the 5 years he's been a coach. 48-34 winning record. He hasn't been fired. He's won 4 of his last 5 straight up in ATS against NFC opponents on the road. Ryan Tannehill 4-2 straight up on the road in week 1. 2-0 with Tennessee. Vrabel is a road dog. 10-5-1 ATS since 2020. 4-2 ATS against road NFC teams. Yeah, dog of the week. Tennessee Titans. Let's go.
oh, really? That's
Swear to God, let's go.
that's
Tennessee Titans plus 140.
That's so bad. Well, I mean, this is one of those like big games for the bet because I feel like this is. I mean, this could.
This
be
is going to set the precedence for the
This
year.
could be the difference between 9 and 10 wins. I will say that. Yeah. So Titans have actually failed to cover the spread in 6 of the last.
That is
season
true.
openers. But here's why I like New Orleans. We've debated it. I think Derek Carr is a massive step up compared to the quarterbacks that New Orleans has had.
And I disagree, but continue.
Number 2, the Raiders' defense was garbage. I know you don't want to admit that. The Raiders' defense, for as long as Carr has been quarterback, has been garbage. How many games did they let up in the last minute of the game to lose?
Okay, hold on. How many games could Derek Carr have won, but they had to punt? Like, I can make the same argument. Like,
No, see, I don't.
how many times was it the defense's fault that he threw an interception?
Because he had to press because his defense was
No.
garbage. Bro, the guy had like the 30th ranked defense every year. The Saints defense isn't that bad. The Saints defense is going to put up a pretty good performance.
The same Saints defense who gave up 30-something to Arizona on Thursday
and
night.
by the way, who's on the Titans offense?
Derrick Henry,
800
Treylon
years
Burks,
old.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, come on. Come on.
You think
you're gonna
D-Hop-
say that with a straight face?
You had the same argument when he went to Arizona,
He's done.
and he balled out.
He's done.
The Hail Murray. Do I need to remind you?
It wasn't even him.
What do you mean it wasn't
knock
him?
the ball down.
What do you mean it wasn't him?
It was Leslie Frazier's fault that happened.
Leslie Frazier's fault
I'm
that
so
3
glad
guys
he's
couldn't defend.
I'm
Like,
so glad Leslie Frazier's gone. He sucked. But anyway.
okay,
No, I mean, the point is, the difference in this bet is I think Derek Carr is a massive improvement. I think the Saints are going to be good this year. And
see,
I don't, again, another one that a lot of people think the Titans are going to be like much better. Why? Tannehill's a year older. D-Hop is old.
D-Hop's old and still
Derrick
balling
Henry
out.
is old.
Still balling out. He was on pace to be number 1 in rushing.
I just don't understand. Like, they weren't a good team last year.
They were injured. They didn't have anybody. Now they're back.
Injury excuse, of course. I don't know. I don't see it with Tennessee. I don't like
Vrabel,
Tennessee.
don't get me wrong.
I
Vrabel
lost money on them last year, week 1 against the Giants. I think you're going to lose money. Now, again, here's what I'll say. One caveat. I'm probably not going to bet this just because it is concerning to take a quarterback first game, new team. But at home in the Superdome.
Well, okay, so forget about Derek Carr and the Titans for a second. When can we admit that Dennis Allen sucks as a head coach? He has not been good. He has not had a winning record.
If they fail this year, yes. Because
He might be first head coach fired.
Because Derek Carr is the best quarterback he's had.
Even if you believe that's true.
I don't know how you could argue it. Jameis, LASIK surgery, Winston, and Andy, 7 teams in
Andy Dalton.
3 years, Dalton.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill.
Who was the guy from Notre Dame they took to? Like,
Oh my God.
they had him play a game.
Bro, I don't even know.
I will give you that. Out of the current talent, Derek Carr probably has the biggest resume. But in terms of skill, I put him and Andy Dalton and Jameis like in the same ballpark.
This you might look, every year someone comes out of this looking like a donkey. I think this year it may be you.
But I don't see the appeal with New Orleans. Like they weren't a good team last year either. They didn't even make playoffs. They went 7-10.
Yeah, to be fair, their division sucks. I think they could go 6.
But doesn't that say something about them too? Like New Orleans sucks too.
I think this is a game they could win.
And
I don't think Tennessee's good.
But I think this is a game the Titans could win.
Let
Let alone cover. They could win this game.
The Titans can win. I didn't make it my best bet like you. You said Titans best bet. I think the Titans could lose by 2 touchdowns.
I think the Titans will win this, and this is the dog of the week. My concern with Pittsburgh, that was my other dog I picked. My concern with Pittsburgh is that that's a game that they could lose by 1. That's a game San Francisco could come in and just win on pure skill. Not John Lynch, but Shanahan. Shanahan could outcoach Tomlin. I think he is on that level. I think he's been around long enough. He knows what he's doing. And Tomlin just doesn't have the skill players like he used to. You want to look at Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's as good. And that's why I took Cincy. Arizona, they might cover, but that's got to be a lot going right. And I just don't think that's going to happen at this point. There's a couple other dogs we got to get through. But, as far as these games go, I'm not sold on Derek Carr. I know what the Titans are. I know Vrabel can win in this situation with Tannehill, with Henry. That's why it's my dog of the week. I know he could do this. I don't know what Derek Carr is going to be with this New Orleans Saints. Is he going to throw it to Slant Boy, or is Slant Boy going to have another fucking fake injury so he doesn't have to play? Is Chris Olave going to all of a sudden be relevant? Alvin Kamara's not playing. He's suspended. This is a game I could see the Titans winning.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, over-under's at 41.5, I want to say. Mansmann, what's your over-under play?
Over. Because I think the Saints' offense is going to be much improved. And I could see the Titans scoring a little, but, I think the Saints' offense is going to get it past the over.
I see garbage time for the Saints, but Derek Carr does tend to get points on the board, so I am also on the over there as well. All right. Last 1 o'clock game. We'll take a short break then, and we'll jump right back into this handicapping. This one I'm actually very interested to get your take on. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars minus 4.5 point spread going up against the Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. No Jonathan Taylor. He's also technically on the PUP list, even though they are having contract negotiation issues. Jags are minus 210 favorites. The Colts are plus 176. And the over-under's at 45.5.
Do we know where the line has moved in this game?
It's gone up. It was 3.5. It's gone to 4.5.
Oh wow, I'm seeing 5 on DraftKings now. Wow.
Ooh.
I got it I looked and saw it at 4 earlier in the day. Oh no,
right.
I have it at 5. No, I had it at 5. Doesn't matter. We know the history with Jacksonville. I think it's 7 straight now. Might be 7 straight. I don't remember the exact number. Point is, I'm ready to fade Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's pro ready. I don't think he's going to be good. I don't care about preseason. I don't want it.
Have you seen him in preseason?
Not all that much. I've heard the stories that he's good.
Continue.
I don't want to hear that. Jacksonville, again, they have history against Indianapolis. No Jonathan Taylor. I don't think Anthony Richardson's good. This is a very sort of high confidence bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars. -4.5, -5. I would take it up to 7, tell you the truth.
So you would ladder bet this game?
I think the Jags win this one easy. I don't think the Colts are going to be any good. And I don't like Anthony Richardson at all. I don't care what he did against second stringers. Week 1, going to be totally different. And I don't think he's going to be good.
That's your handicap. Anthony Richardson sucks. No Jonathan Taylor. Take the Jags.
I don't like Anthony Richardson. I think he's Justin Fields 2.0.
All right.
Good for fantasy, not good for winning.
So this is what I call a paradox game, folks. And this is the paradox. This is when two things are true at the same time and you have to pick a side. Here's the paradox. The Colts have not won a week 1 matchup in 8 straight seasons. They've gone 0-7-1.
Yeah, how'd that work? Betting on them.
Shut up, Mansmann. All right, here's the other paradox. The Colts have won 5 in a row against the Jaguars at home.
Oh, that's true. They had won They'd not won in Jacksonville, right?
Correct. That's the key with the division. Colts win in Jacksonville. Jacksonville doesn't win in Indy. Jacksonville wins at home.
So I was totally wrong about that.
Yeah. But Jonathan Taylor, no go for the first 4 weeks. Anthony Richardson, rookie debut. If you listen to any of the other rookie quarterbacks, which I think there was 2, you know where I'm going to go with this. Fade the rookie quarterback. Take Jacksonville. Now, I'm not like Money Mansmann. I'm not willing to bet the ladder. And with ladder betting, folks, for those of you who don't know, ladder betting is when you take an alternate spread, alternate total, and you just bet it up and up and up and up until you get to a comfortable number. So for Mansmann's sake, he would be willing to bet this to, let's just say, 8.5, 9.5. So this spread right now was at 4.5. It's now at 5. Mansmann would literally take bets at 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, up to 8.5. Now, the numbers he would be betting at each would vary, but the idea is that if you like a team at 8.5 and your number you're getting is at 5.5, you're going to bet those alternate totals and try to profit that way.
Yeah. Gives you a bit more, it's almost like it gives you a bit more diversification, but you could also boost your number as opposed to just placing it all 8.5 and then losing if it's 7.
Right. Say you think the 5.5 will cover, you think 6.5 will cover too. Double down on that, but it's essentially like triple downing, quadruple downing, so on and so forth. Hopefully you get it by this point. And normally, I see the argument where the Colts stand a chance in this kind of a game because it's Jacksonville, because of the precedents. Anthony Richardson, I think 2 things are true. I think he is the future of the Colts franchise organization. I think he'll be there for a while. Here's what I saw against Buffalo. He did not handle pressure well. He missed a lot of reads, threw an interception, and a lot of his throws that he did get out were very overthrown and out of range. Besides the dump-off passes and the option reads where he ran it off, there's a lot to be desired with this guy. I was one of these guys that actually was high on Anthony Richardson, and then I saw the game film. I'm hopping off. I think Jacksonville, they are going to be super overrated this year. But you have a first-year head coach, a first-year quarterback. They're going up against Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl winning head coach, and Cinderella Trevor Lawrence. I don't see it. I'm with you. I'm taking the Jags. I'm taking them with the spread. I just don't know if I'm willing to ladder bet it. Because if you remember, the Jags started off really bad last year, too. I said this in the Futures episode in the NFC Futures. If you guys want to check that out on our new Spotify page for the Distinguished D-Gents, NFC Futures episode is out now. I said this about the Detroit Lions. they're the same thing as the Jacksonville Jaguars. They started off really bad last year. They got up to a hot start towards the end of the season, won a lot of close games. They ended up making the playoffs. The Detroit Lions didn't. Mm-hmm. The Jags went 1-5 straight up in ATS and road games before they went off. They were really bad in road spots. They lost to Tannehill and they beat the Titans, but that was without Tannehill or Derrick Henry. Yeah. They beat the Jets. They beat the Texans. But anybody else, like let's be real, they're probably losing that game. They lost to Denver and London, for God's sakes.
In the London Jaguars. Yeah.
Prior to that streak, they were damn near winless. They only had 2 other road covers since 2021. 1-13 straight up, 3-11 ATS.
It was because Russell Wilson was doing all those high steps on the plane.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I mean, now Jacksonville has covered their last 4 on the road, but like I said, was that a streak or was that something for real where he finally came around? I don't think Trevor Lawrence really came around. I'm actually going to be more concerned if this number keeps going up, but right now at 4.5, I'll take the Jags.
The play I really do like, and this is my over-under play of the week.
Ooh.
Over total. What do you have it now?
I had it at 43.5. It is currently 45.5.
Oh, see, I got it. It was so much lower on DraftKings. Hold on 1 second, folks.
That's all right. I actually like the under on this game.
So I like the over, although less like it at 45. Here's why. Rookie quarterback, especially one as raw as Richardson, I see 2 turnovers with the potential of being pick 6, fumble recoveries on the 5-yard line.
It's funny you say that. That's why I like the under. Because there's going to be no run game for Indy. Anthony Richardson, from what I've seen in preseason, he can't throw for shit. He overthrows them, or they drop it, or it's a dump-off pass without success. I don't see the Colts really scoring much. I would be tempted to bet the Colts team total under. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'd be tempted to bet that
team total. What you should do, under first half, because what I see happening is Jacksonville gets up early, Richardson starts to press, and then it gets ugly. I could see it. Jacksonville goes up at the half, it's 14-3 or 17-3, and then Richardson starts trying crazy shit because they
start scrambling
and then get strip sacked and shit like that.
So that was a key play I had last season, folks. It was Jags Chargers game. It was actually more of a spread, but the total ended up working out as well. It was under total for the half and over for the game. But I could see that happening, under first half and then over for...
God, it's weird. I got a really rogue number because, it's up to 45 now.
Yeah, it's up to 45. I like the under, though, because I just don't think Richardson's going to be able to do enough. I mean, even with Pittman and Alec Pierce and Mo Alley Cox, if he's going to overthrow them all game. And if he's going to rush it, too, and that's going to be his only source of offense, I mean, that's going to be good for fantasy, but that's not going to be good for covering the spread or covering the total.
Yeah.
That's insane. All right, so we're through the 1 o'clock games, folks. We're through the Thursday night games. I gave out 4 of my best bets. Money Mansmann, how many of your best bets do you got out right now?
Yeah, so I have over for the Jags. I have Minnesota, my best bet. Underdog, the Steelers, and I believe... Yeah, I still have one more of my sort of premier bets left to go.
Gotcha. Fade of the week. We're fading the Niners. We're taking the Steelers plus 2.5. Best bet, Baltimore minus 10. Under of the week, Browns, Bengals, under 47.5. Over of the week, over 45.5 for the Vikings game. By the way, folks, I'm going to give you a nice little bet here, too, on top of that. One of my prop bets I got for you, folks, take the Vikings to win and the over 45.5 points. I think you can get it plus 230 right now on FanDuel.
Endorse that.
And then... over the week, over-under favorite fade. Dog of the week, Tennessee Titans in New Orleans. We already know Money Mansmann hates that. But you know what? He's trying to keep the spirit of the Raiders alive. And as Broncos fans in this house, we don't appreciate that. But it's fine. We'll get over it. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We're going to pause the video here. Check us out in the next part. All right, welcome back, ladies and D-Gents. We are the Distinguished D-Gents podcast. I'm Steve Big Bucks Beyta. With me, as always, Money Jason, Mansmann.
Still here. Yep.
Still here, still alive. We got through the 1 o'clock games. We didn't kill each other. With me, as always, producer John from the Harbor Discussions channel.
Hola.
Thank you for joining us today, producer John.
Of course.
Of course. All right, we got through the 1 o'clock games. We got through the Thursday night game. We're here for week 1. We're here for all the money line, spread, and over-under picks. All right, Money Mansman, we haven't killed each other yet, but we still got 7 games to go. Any other games we want to fight about, or?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We got most of our best bets out of the way, but we'll see what happens for
Yeah,
us.
most of the best bets are out of the way. Check out earlier in the episode for those picks. We'll recap them at the end as well if you just want to fast forward there. With that said, are we ready to jump into this?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll introduce it. We have the LA Rams going up against the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are a plus 5.5 dog. I got to pull the money line back up. Here we go. Seahawks are minus 245 home favorites. Rams are plus 200, 2-1 underdogs. Over-under currently is 45.5. Dropped down 2 points, was 47. I want to say it's my turn at this point.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Sure.
What you got?
Yeah, bottom line, Rams plus 5.5 is the play here. And this is a numbers play for me. 5.5 is just too much. For this Seattle team, who, let's be honest, I think they're coming off a very unprecedented season where they were expected to be one of the worst NFL teams last year. And not only did they exceed expectations, they actually made playoffs with Geno Smith. And the Rams last season, they played Seattle with Baker Mayfield and John Wolford. And both those guys managed to not only keep the game close, they lost by 4 the first time, they lost by 3 in the regular season finale in overtime. Say what you will with backups and whatnot, but both times they got the cover, which put them to 8-1 ATS against Seattle. Now we're getting Matthew Stafford back, who, by the way, he's 2-0 straight up against Seattle. That was when they had Russell Wilson. The defense for Seattle is also my big concern. They readdressed their front seven. They picked up defensive end Mario Edwards. They got Bobby Wagner back. I don't know if you remember how he did with the Rams, but he looked like a ghost of himself. But they did pick up Devin Bush. They picked up defensive tackle Draymond Jones from Denver. Neither of their starting cornerbacks are going to be in this game. Jamal Adams and Devin Witherspoon are both out. They're both going to be out for week 1. I know Cooper Kupp isn't going to be a factor for this game. He might miss this game as well. But I think that the Rams with Matt Stafford, they could easily hit this 5.5 too. Cam Akers also had very big games against Seattle. He went over 100 yards in his first game against them. He scored 2 touchdowns in the second one. Or is it? Oh, no, sorry, that was backwards. He got over 100 yards in the second game. He scored 2 touchdowns in the first game against Seattle. Seattle gave up the 3rd most rushing yards last season at 25.54 yards allowed. That was only behind Houston and Chicago. They were tied for 4th with Arizona in rushing touchdowns allowed. So I would say for fantasy purposes and for daily fantasy and prop bets as well, look at Cam Akers on the overs.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing him week 1 fantasy. So.
As you should. I don't know if the Rams do win this one outright. I'm going to take them as the underdog here just for week 1 purposes, where I just need to pick some more underdogs in this. And this is one where I could just see it being overlooked and happening. And with the value, too, at 2-1, I think this should be a lot closer of a game than the odds are projecting. I know a lot of the sharps and a lot of Vegas is projecting the Rams to have a really bad season, but like I said in the futures, this was a Super Bowl winning team 2 years ago. And I know injuries have been a big factor, hence why I'm only going to be playing the spread on this one.
Did you see when Matt Stafford said he couldn't communicate with his teammates? Cause
he's getting old. But, I think, you know what it takes? It takes like a team dinner. Just have his wife cook up some spaghetti or some dumb shit.
Seeing as she was the one who leaked the news, I don't think they're going to want her cooking anything.
That's good. That's a fair point. Like I said, I don't know if the Rams win this one outright on the money line, but I think plus 5.5, that's just a lot. That's a lot for a team who covered that with 2 backup quarterbacks.
I have to say, I'm very surprised because you've had a couple really like bad donkey plays today. I really don't like this play at all. I actually am very high on Seattle here, -5.5. I'm with the Sharps completely. I think the Rams have.
Let me be fair. You're not going to win a lot of money fading the Sharps, but this is one where the 5.5 is too much.
And they weren't good on the road last year.
They were, but they also didn't have Matt Stafford as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, but is Matt Stafford like? Can he survive? Is he good anymore?
I think there's more left. I mean, we said the same thing in 2021. He went and won a Super Bowl.
You're going to Seattle week 1. Like, that's a tough place to play. Seattle has improved. We saw it last year. I don't think that last year was sort of, if Seattle went and sort of like, I don't know. To me, I think the resurgence is real. I think they're going to be a solid team because they have pieces around Geno Smith. It wasn't just necessarily like Geno Smith completely sort of carrying the team to stardom. The Rams were terrible against the NFC last year. I think they haven't covered 6 of the last 7 road games. I know some of that was last year. This is just a really tough spot. And look, if it's 5.5 in LA, I may be with you. But 5.5 in Seattle seems really low to me. And the Sharps have been talking that the Rams are going to be bad. I listened to a couple Sharps that have put big money on the Rams unders. I don't like the Rams at all in week 1. I think they could get embarrassed week 1. I like Seattle here.
See, excuse me. This is where I differ from you. I don't get why the demise of the LA Rams is being like written so prematurely when, let's be honest, and I said this last year too with the Bills game, and I should have went with that and I just avoided it. Matt Stafford was not 100% healthy week 1. And then he went out there and just like ruined the rest of his season. Now he's had the whole half season last year. He's had the off season to recover. And I've seen Matt Stafford pretty healthy. And now the big concern with Cooper Kupp not playing, that does scare me. But I do think 5.5 last year when Cooper Kupp wasn't there, when Aaron Donald wasn't there, they still covered 3 and 4. I'll play it the opposite reason. Is Geno Smith really that good?
Well, let me play it to you this way because this might sort of explain things. Who do you think wins the division this year?
If the Rams are as good as I think they'll be, I think they have a shot. But that's with the Niners not being as good.
Did you bet? You should probably bet that immediately.
Well, okay. Well, I put chump change on it, half a unit. It wasn't anything crazy, but I threw at plus 1,000. Yeah,
I mean, if you believe that, you should definitely, because I think Seattle...
Well, especially, too, if the Rams win week 1, that number's dropping, significantly. So, for me, I like the Rams as a dark horse to win the division. Do I actually think they're going to do it? No. I'm going to wait till San Francisco loses week 1, and then I might bet them the minute they're plus money.
Yeah, I like Seattle to win the division. Actually. I think I said that when we did our futures.
You did, yeah. No, Seattle was...
At least I'm consistent. Yeah, I like Seattle here week 1. I think a play on the Rams week 1, very dangerous.
For me, it's a numbers, 5.5.
And look, I'm hoping they lose by 7, and then the Rams look good, because I was kind of on board with you. I thought the Rams sort of demise was a bit overstated. I just think this is a really bad spot for them. Really bad spot to go.
I would think the same. But the Rams, even with their backups, put up a hell of a performance, and now they're getting pretty much all their starters back. There's a possibility they win this game, in my opinion.
I mean, it's the NFC.
And 5.5.
It's the NFC West. You know me.
Yeah, you never know. This isn't the Cardinals. Let's not pretend.
Don't worry, New Orleans is going to win, and then the Rams will win, and we'll both be pissed off.
That would not be a good day.
Oh, okay. I was second, so over. I like the over in this one. I see there being, because I do agree with you with your run game assessment. I think the Rams could break off a couple big runs in this. But I don't know about that Rams defense anymore. Aaron Donald getting older. Like,
No more Jalen Ramsey. What do you think of that?
well, I mean, he was burnt toast anyway. You know how I feel about that guy.
Well, we know how you feel about burnt
The
toast.
word trash comes to mind. But yeah, no, I mean, they're getting older. I think the Rams are sort of on the, I think they're sort of a rebuilding team. So I could see them scoring a little bit. I could see them getting the run game going. But I do think Seattle pulls it out, and I do think it's a higher scoring game.
I'm going to lean with you on this one at 45.5. Originally, I did pick the under, but the more I thought about it, that just seemed counterintuitive. I think if the Rams are going to win this one, they're going to have to score against this defense. And then I also think Geno Smith, say what you will. I know the last time they played, it was like 16-19. It was a really low-scoring affair against a bad Rams team. I don't think that happens the second time around. I think not only Kenneth Walker III coming back around, I think with Jackson Smith Njigba, I forget how you say his last name. I think
Yeah.
the Seattle offense has had a resurgence, I think, between the draft and free agency that I think they'll bounce back around. I see this game going over as well. I don't know if it goes over by much, but and not my most confident over-under pick. I actually originally I leaned on under, but I could see this going over, especially if I do think that the Rams are going to stay competitive. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So last non-conference game of the week, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, reigning defending NFC champions, going to New England in Foxborough. 3.5-point road favorites, minus 184, up in New England. New England's a plus 154 home dog. Over under 45. Actually, yeah, 45 even points. It's actually dropped down half a point. Monty Mansmann, the pick is yours.
I'm hoping you're with me on this one. Do we still have Chewbacca?
We do.
That does not make sense.
I mean, this is my favorite of the week.
Really? Okay.
What are we doing here? This New England team. Now,
Hold on. Let's rewind. The Eagles are a 3.5-point road favorite, only minus 180.
I mean, like, what are we doing?
That does not make sense.
What the fuck are we doing, guys?
Say
What are we doing? This New England team, is Tom Brady back?
No.
Is Bill Belichick like 10 years younger?
No.
I mean, okay, I know it's Bill Belichick. I know it's New England. They're probably not going to be as bad as people say.
Now,
But this
okay.
Eagles team's legitimate, guys.
Okay, now, just as devil's advocate. Bill O'Brien, offensive coordinator.
Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care. 9 straight as road favorites the Eagles have won.
Jeez, wait, what?
9 straight as road favorites.
Jesus.
Guys, what are we doing here? You know what? You know what? I'm going to change it. That's how, this has never happened before, I don't think. The Eagles are now my best bet. Minnesota is now my favorite.
You're changing it up.
That's how bad this is. I don't understand. I know the Super Bowl hangover is real.
Do you want to take a double chance? A double best bet. Parlay.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Double best bet. Vikings, Eagles. Let's do it. This is crazy to me. I'm not gonna. They'll just end it here. Mac Jones got benched for Bailey Zappi last year.
Okay, no, he didn't get benched.
Technically,
He's technically not. He got injured.
he was injured.
Bailey Zappi got dropped, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Mac Jones was their only starting quarterback on the roster. What does that tell you?
Not good.
What place are the? Let's do it this way. The Eagles, they were in the Super Bowl this year. What position are they going to finish in the NFC East? First, second?
I would exact a box the Eagles with another team, and if it's plus money, I would hammer it.
And what about the Patriots? Fourth. Yeah, fourth. So thank you guys. Look, I know it's in New England, but come on, 3.5 points. That's almost like you're basically saying the Eagles are 5.5 point better than the Patriots. No, they're full touchdown.
Well, what if the Eagles were at home? What would this be like? 6-point favorites. That's
Well,
it.
let's see.
That's it.
So it's 3.5. So let's say 2 and 2, 7.5 points at home.
That's
I still think that's ridiculous.
that's Chewbacca.
The Patriots are not going to be good.
Yeah, the Chewbacca game is when Chewbacca does not make sense. You must acquit. Therefore, you must take the obvious side.
I can't go anymore. It's too easy.
So previously, God, what the fuck? All right, previously with my Niners-Steelers prediction, I emphasize this. I love fading the non-conference road favorites.
But
Not here. Not here. I can't. Not with the Eagles minus 3.5. I mean, what are we doing, guys? The Eagles, say what you will. Say with who they lost in the offseason. Did you see their draft? They took half of the Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning defending national champion Bulldogs, in their draft. The Eagles are so juiced. This line got bet down from 4.5 and 5 to 3.5. Are you high or incredibly stupid? I mean, what the fuck? Like,
Patriots didn't cover the last 4 games either.
Eagles to win by 4 against the 4th place Patriots. I mean, oh, by the way, the Eagles, they've been really good against the AFC. 7-0 straight up, 5-2 ATS.
This got to be a Belichick. Like, that's why. People just don't want to bet against Bill Belichick.
Well, do you... Let me rebound with this. Do you like what they did at the receiver? They took Juju Smith-Schuster and Devontae Parker. Compared to who they had.
I mean, not really that much.
Mike Gesicki at tight end. I mean, whoop-de-doo. That's my opinion. Whoop-de-doo.
I mean, is it going to make Mac Jones better? I mean, he's a middling quarterback. And you're
Bill O'Brien's their new offensive coordinator. So I think the idea is this offense going to have a resurgence?
But even if it does, you still lose to the Eagles by 10. I mean, this Eagles team is going to be really good again.
Yeah, do you know how Mac Jones is against NFC teams?
Probably not that good.
Dog shit. 4-6 straight up. 1-4 straight up. 2-3 ATS at home.
I mean, against teams other than the Jets.
Oh, and New England is an underdog against AFC teams with Mac Jones. 0-4. Like, he doesn't win.
This is ridiculous, stupid line.
Like, and I just think at 3.5 for the Eagles win by... You would think if the Eagles have to go into Foxborough after losing the Super Bowl, this is your statement win.
And you know the Eagles will win by 30. Like, they don't care.
Oh, no, the Eagles, they'll do 2 pick sixes back-to-back and dance in your end zone.
Is Jalen Hurts, like, injured or something?
No, it's just Jalen Hurts, you know. I don't get it either.
You could bet this up to, like, 14, I think.
I don't know if I'd bet, okay, I don't know if I would do that, but...
I mean, I'm not saying I would. I'm saying you could, though. I think there's going to be a blowout.
No, this for me, God, the number's so high. That's my only concern. Like, this would be a money line play with a parlay with an underdog. Like for me, I like the Tennessee Titans. I would parlay that with the Eagles and boost it, just because I just think it's that easy. But
yeah, I think this could be crazy.
All right, over under 45.5. I like the over, and again, it's for reasons stated that I think New England's offense did have a lot of good moves where I think that it could show off against this Eagles defense. Eagles lost a couple key pieces of defense compared to last season, so I think, you know, New England and Mac Jones could take advantage of it. But I think for the Eagles to win, and especially to win by 4, they're going to have to do a blowout statement type situation. And Jalen Hurts. Yeah, like Jalen Hurts hasn't gone anywhere. Last I checked, he had like 5 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like,
I think maybe the Eagles' defense, because they played badly against the Chiefs. I don't understand where this is coming from. I actually am on the under. 7 of the last 8 season openers for the Patriots have gone under. But really, I don't see New England scoring that much. Like, this Eagles defense is legitimate. I know they had a bad Super Bowl, but
that's true. They
had a pretty good NFC Championship game when they knocked every quarterback out for the Niners with their pass rush. Like, I think they're going to be a good defense. And like you said, in the draft, they're just restocking and retooling. So, yeah, Eagles all the way here, like the under.
All right, fair enough. We're going to heads up on that one. All right. Fuck.
Oh,
Mansmann, you really... All right. Are you going to make me do this?
yeah, I think you should.
God damn it. All right. The Las Vegas Raiders.
Undefeated against the Denver Broncos
Fuck
in
you.
their history.
Fuck you. All right, they're traveling to Denver week 1. The Broncos, the 5-11 Broncos last season are, I shit you not, 4-point home favorites against the Las Vegas Raiders. Minus 210, over-unders 44 right now on FanDuel. And, Jason, it's my turn, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. This is Paradox game number 2. Paradox game number 1 was the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. Paradox game number 2. Money Mansmann just stated the Denver Broncos have not beaten the Las Vegas Raiders. Not the Raiders. Not the Oakland Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Ever since they relocated to Vegas, they have been undefeated against my fucking
crazy.
Broncos.
That's crazy.
0-6 straight up, 1-5 ATS for Denver. The Broncos have failed to win or cover in their last 3 as favorites against the Raiders. And this team, who Mansmann said, by the way, earlier, if you listen to our Derek Carr rant, for a Raiders team that had no defense, I think the Broncos seem to have forgotten that message. Because since 2016, a.k.a. since Peyton Manning retired, the Broncos have averaged 18.5 points against this Raiders team. They've only scored more than 21 in 4 games since 2016. They've gone 4-10 straight up, 3-11 ATS. They've lost 8 of their last 9. Despite all of this, this is the week it changes. I'm taking my Broncos on the money line.
He's got confidence. It's week 1.
It's week 1. No, here's why. Unfortunately, this is the paradox. Russell Wilson, for some reason, has Jimmy G's number. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. If you remembered the Thursday night game with the Niners and Broncos.
12-10.
No, 11-10.
11-10.
Yeah, that. By the way, because it was a safety. Jimmy G literally threw a pick 6, but he stepped out of bounds first, so it was a safety. That was the Broncos season in a nutshell. The Broncos got a pick 6, but he stepped out of bounds, so it was a safety. Yeah, no, Jimmy G he's not good against Russ. Russ is 6-1 straight up against Jimmy G. He's beaten him 5 times as a Seahawk, once with the Broncos. But that was a horrendous, ugly win. It was one of Denver's only few wins last season. And like I said, Broncos money line is the play because I actually do believe Sean Payton is a way better head coach than Nathaniel Hackett. I don't even know who their interim head coach was last season. That's how bad it got for me, where, by that time of the day, I was damn near blackout because I couldn't do it. I punched a hole in Jason's wall. It just got that bad. Do I think Sean Payton's smart enough to know when to call timeout, run a proper 2-minute drill, not throw a screen pass on every 3rd down, not kick a 64-yard field goal on your road territory? And then you have the Raiders. They beat us with Derek Carr. And now you have Jimmy G, who, look, say what you will, at least throughout the last 5 seasons, higher than 50% winning percentage rating, higher completion percentage rating.
Amazing what a defense does for you.
More playoff appearances, higher QBR.
Say it. You think Jimmy G is a better quarterback?
Jimmy G is a better quarterback than Derek Carr.
That's crazy to me.
Not by much, but he is, in my opinion. Like, Jimmy G knows how not to fuck up royally. But even with all this said, I do think the Broncos win. This spread makes 0 sense to me. This is, John, unfortunately, I need you to hit that Chewbacca button.
That does not make sense.
The Raiders +4 is a smarter play. I love my Broncos. I'm not going to bet this game on principle, but Like, if you have to make a pick, Raiders +4, even with Jimmy G, like, how am I going to make the argument that Jimmy G's a better quarterback, but not say take that? Yeah. You know, you're going to fade him in an opportunity that actually it actually favors this organization. Like, I don't get it. Like, you would think that this would be a pick'em game, but no.
This is the
Raiders
Sean
+1.
Payton effect. This is the Sean.
And I don't get that. Like, Sean Payton has proved nothing to me.
People think that Denver's like a trendy sort of playoff team. So.
Well, you know what? So were the Jets. So were the Jets last season. And
well, this season they are.
no, I love Sean Payton. I love the pickup. Like, look, we got our first round back when we traded Bradley Chubb. But let's be honest. The organization needed a pickup at head coach. They needed some sort of stability. We knew it wasn't going to come at quarterback. We couldn't get rid of Russ. This was the best move we could have made. There was no draft pick in that draft that could have made a difference for Denver, like trading it.
Yeah, at least you got a coach now, yeah. This is, I'm going to be really short. This is like one of my low confidence 4 o'clock games. I think you have to lean Raiders just because of the number and the history involved. But just another game, like so many question marks. How's Denver going to look with a new coach? Was Nathaniel Hackett really that bad? Like, what is Russell Wilson? And then on the Raiders side, you know, I think you're going to get sort of a good Josh Jacobs, but is he going to be as good as last year? What's Jimmy G going to look like? What's this offense going to look like? Just too many questions in this game, so a no bet for me, but
Well, how have the Broncos done as favorites? Like last season? Just
not good.
Not good. I think there was a lot of games that were pick'ems, but as far as like big favorites, they didn't win any.
Yeah, no.
Remember that Rams game on Christmas?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember because I was in my fiance's parents' living room with half a bottle of whiskey just watching disaster and having to hear in the other room, oh, yeah, no, I like the Rams. My buddy's a Rams. We're not going to go there. But nothing personal, just not a good time.
I would have fucking laughed.
Well, I did. That's not the point.
Couldn't listen to this shit. Yeah.
No, the Broncos were terrible. And that's why I say, like Raiders +4. Like, if you were a smart bettor, that should be your lock. Like, truth be told. Raiders +4. Because I think the Broncos could.
Well, I don't know what the Raiders are going to look.
The Broncos could win by 3. I could see that 100% happen.
Jimmy G could throw 3 interceptions against this.
So could Russell Wilson, though.
No, it's such an ugly game. Like I said, no bet for me. Completely out of this. Completely.
All right, over under 44.5. Mansmann, what's your play?
Over because it's Raiders, Broncos, and sometimes weird shit seems to happen in this game. And like you said, I could literally see a pick 6. Remember the fumble recoveries? Can they sign Melvin Gordon?
No. We got rid of the fucker. No. Do not bring this asshole back.
I mean, remember how many over-unders died because Melvin Gordon gave up a fumble for a...
Well, no, here's the funny thing. Broncos used to be the biggest under team. They only had 1 in 12 straight games.
Then they ended the year with
6 in a row.
Yeah.
I looked at it. It was 6 in a row the Broncos had overs. It was absurd. It's Raiders week, over 44.5 is the play. Right. But this could be an under really bad. It really... in my opinion, this depends on Russell Wilson. Because I think Jimmy G will keep pace with whatever the game does.
Will Big Bucks throw up before the end of the game? That's the real question.
No. Will I punch a hole, though? Probably. We'll see. Yeah, no, I lean over, but it could sway either way. That's probably number 15 in the 16 games of confidence. All right. Here we go. We got one more game. Probably actually have 4 more.
Two more. Oh, yeah. 2 more 4 o'clocks and then the 2.
Yeah, 2 more 4 o'clocks, then we got the rest of the prime time. All right, so here we go. We got the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love now at the helm at quarterback in a pick'em against the Chicago Bears. It went from 2.5 to a 1-point difference. Packers are 1-point road dog, technically, -104. Bears are -1, -112. Over-under is now at 43.5. Monty Mansmann, are you riding with Go Pack Go, or are you taking not Jordan Love, are you taking Justin Fields week 1?
Yeah, this is another low-confidence game. It's hard because all of the trend lines, you basically just throw them away because they were all Aaron Rodgers. We all know what the Packers did to the Bears, the covers that they had. Well, like, they're just thrown away. I really don't like Justin Fields. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Guy, great for fantasy. Betting-wise, he'll lose you money 8 out of 10 times. I'd have to go with Chicago because I think he's more established. I think the Bears are more established as a team. They're at home. I'm not a Jordan Love fan. I don't think he's good. I know he had that one good game when he filled in for Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not a fan of him. I saw him against the Chiefs in that bullshit, what was it, like 13-9 game or 9-6 or whatever, where they couldn't even move the ball against the Chiefs defense. I don't like Jordan Love. I don't like this Green Bay team. I don't think they're going to be good. If I had to pick someone, I'd pick Chicago, but low confidence. Don't want anything to do with this game.
Yeah, Producer John, hit that Chewbacca button. This is a Chewbacca game.
Does not make sense.
This is Chewbacca. We're writing off Jordan Love before we even truly get to know him. That's my problem with this big game. I'm not saying, okay, no, I'll be fair. I don't think he's the Packers' future. I think they got super lucky with Brett Favre. I think they got even luckier with Aaron Rodgers. But let's be really honest here. We saw this guy in one game. That one game in Kansas City against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the COVID season when Aaron Rodgers, because he was immunized from winning and apparently immunized from COVID, got it anyways though somehow. That game was not really respectable, but like neither were the Chiefs. That was such a horrible game.
Well, did Andy Reid play defense? Is Andy Reid a defensive coordinator?
I mean, he might as well have been.
Like, I've seen Kansas City win games like 40-34.
Dude, it was 13-7. Like, it wasn't a good game.
No, it was not.
But I think the fact remains that, like, even though it was like 13-0, and then Jordan Love made it respectable, 13-7. Like, in a game where he was thrown in last minute, not prepared to actually start, you know, he had a touchdown connection with Alan Lazard. We're a year and a half removed from that. We haven't really seen the kid, and just all of a sudden we're supposed to fade him. We're assuming we can't. Like, I didn't assume he would keep up with the Chiefs. He kept up with he kept up with them. Now he can't keep up with the Bears. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, he's had a year and a half to, like, at least improve, and he just can't keep up.
This will be an ugly game. It'll be like a 3-point game.
I mean, what are we doing? I don't get it. Like, for me, this is a Packers play all day. Packers +1, Packers money line. Like,
yeah.
This is the same Bears team. They accounted for 3 wins last year. They lost to Mike White. By the way, that was a game I faded. I faded Mike White. I actually believed in the Bears.
Well, that was a mistake.
And that was a mistake, yeah.
I'd bet Mike White over Justin. What is
Justin Fields.
No, not Justin Fields. Jordan Love. God, I forgot his name. I'd take Mike White over Jordan Love.
Oh, see, I wouldn't. Because Jordan Love's been, well, Mike White couldn't beat out Zach Wilson. I think Jordan Love.
We know what that was. Let's be honest.
We'll say what you.
It was cool. You drafted a guy number 2 and needed to play him.
Sure, whatever. But the same Bears team, their quarterback only threw for over 200 yards once. Ironically,
well, I'm right here with you on this.
A defense who was 29th in yards allowed, 26th in opponent's QBR, 23rd in points per game on offense, at 19.2 on average per game. They were dead last in points allowed. And I'm not saying Jordan Love's going to be great. This is where overreaction week 2 is going to come in. Green Bay's going to come in. They're going to win this game. And Jordan Love is all of a sudden going to be a real NFL quarterback. He's going to be the future of Green Bay. And I'm going to love fading the shit out of him in week 2.
See, it's the opposite. Chicago's going to win this game. Not with my money. I'm not playing that. I don't want any part of this. Chicago's going to win this game. Justin Field is going to run for like 250 yards because Green Bay sucks. That was an exaggeration, but you get the idea. He's going to run crazy. He's going to be in the MVP voting, and then I'm going to fade the hell out of Chicago, who's going to be a favorite against a good team and win.
So, speaking of, let's talk about this. Defense on the defensive side, because apparently Green Bay sucks on offense. Here's who the Bears picked up on defense. Tremaine Edmonds. Tell me about Tremaine Edmonds, buddy.
I'm still waiting for him to take a good angle to stop a run play.
There you go. Okay.
Pass coverage non-existent.
TJ Edwards. I don't give a shit about him.
No.
Nothing personal. He hasn't done anything. But defensive end Raheem Green. That was their other best pickup. He started 5 games last season.
For who?
I don't even know. Exactly. I don't even care. That was your pickup? You haven't been that impressive stat-wise either. The Bears' rush defense was second worst in the league. And by the way, Green Bay still has Aaron Jones. I'm not saying Jordan Love has to be great, but Aaron Jones was, pretty fucking serviceable against the fucking Bears. You're giving me a point.
I'm not going to say I disagree. I just don't know why. There are a lot of other better plays. I don't know why you're putting money on this, but that's just me.
I'm not putting a lot of money on this.
You see it.
I'm not. I think it's a lot of preseason hype on the Bears offense, like with DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert, but all I saw were screen passes and dump-offs.
Well, that's all Justin Fields could do.
And that's my problem. I think the Packers' defense is a lot better than giving up screen passes and dump-offs. And I think the Packers' defense could just keep Justin Fields in check. And I think the Packers could win this game with Jordan Love. I'm not saying that Jordan Love's going to win the fucking division. I'm not saying he can't be, I'm not saying he's the next coming of Christ with Aaron Rodgers and, Brett Favre, without the welfare incident. But do I think he could win this game? Absolutely. And for me, I just don't see it with the Bears. It makes no sense. That's why this is a Chewbacca game. I actually think the Packers should be favored by 1 or 2, but it's the other way around. That's where I'm at. But I am going to go over 44.5. I do think the Bears did address their offense a little better. I think that they will be able to succeed in certain areas. And I could just see this being a close knit, but you know what? At the end of the day, it could be 51 points. 27-24, 28-25, something like that.
Yeah, I have low confidence under here because I don't have high hopes for Green Bay's offense. I don't think Chicago's offense is really going to be world beaters either. I think if I had to guess, I think it'll be a lower scoring NFC North game. But yeah, I don't like it. So
all right, last 4:00 game, we got the Miami Dolphins. The return of Tua Tagovailoa from his 3rd concussion.
Poor guy.
Ugh. They're traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Chargers are currently 3-point favorites. They're minus 162 on the money line. The Dolphins are plus 136. Over-under currently is at 50.5. Money Mansmann, are you taking the road dogs in the Dolphins, or are you taking the home favorite with Justin Herbert and the Chargers?
Yeah, low confidence pick on the Chargers.
Okay, hold on. How many low confidence?
The 4:00 games I really didn't like that much. As you know, I really liked the 1 o'clocks. I had a lot that I liked. The 4 o'clocks I don't really like. I don't know. The Chargers and Dolphins both sort of seem to me like teams that could be really good, but also like disappointments. And Brandon Staley as a coach.
Wait, hold on. Brandon Staley's a coach?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't like the Chargers at all. They're a disappointing team. They've actually been good against the AFC in September. I think they've won maybe 6 of their last 7 against the AFC in September or something like that.
Huh.
They've also been pretty good, I think, at season openers. So based on those trend lines, I'd lean to the Chargers. These two teams, to me, again, it's the same thing, sort of. They're so hyped. You hear a lot of good stuff about Miami, a lot of good stuff about the Chargers, but you just don't know what Justin Herbert could throw a stupid interception to cost him the game. Tua could go and get concussed, and then it's a totally different game.
You can throw up the gang signs.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't really like this game that much, but I'd lean Chargers.
Fair enough. I thought this was the biggest bullshit game for week 1 because neither of these teams really impressed me, nor do I really have anything nice to say about either of them. Monty Mansmann, as you know, I hate the Chargers.
Yep.
If you remember how I felt about Tua when he made his debut against Denver, And then I just saw some Dumbo out in the world put $75,000, not just for Tua to win, but for Tua to cover 3.5 as a favorite in like his home debut. I thought it was the dumbest shit ever, and I was just like, I hope this guy. It's bad. You should never do this. But I was like, I hope this guy loses. Like, I hope he learns a lesson.
I'm not sold on Tua at all.
And that's my point here. Like, I'm not sold on either quarterback, but I'm definitely not sold on Tua. The questions for me, this is going to be like a coaching type situation, believe it or not. The Dolphins hired Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. And I think Vic Fangio, head coach, not the greatest, but when he was a defensive coordinator, made a big difference. But the same goes for the Chargers. They hired Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator from Dallas. Are the Chargers finally going to get their shit together? You know, I don't know. Ultimately, I'm with you. I lean the Chargers. This line, I think, just favors them at 3 points. The Chargers were 4-2 straight up last season as home favorites. They went a 2-3-1 ATS. And the Dolphins, 2-9 straight up as road dogs. 6-4-1 ATS. They covered 3 in a row as road dogs. I think at this point it ends. It's a new season. You know, you look at all these games, and here's what my kicker is. A lot of those spreads were high numbers, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 points. You're only getting this at 3. And you look at this money line, the Chargers are minus 162. I mean, do I really want to bet 2.5 points, 3 points here to get a minus 110? I personally wouldn't. This would be more of a money line play for me. I would just take the Chargers and bet it right at home. But I just don't like Miami on the road going to the West Coast for a late afternoon game.
To give you, to add more specifics to the numbers, Chargers have won their last 4 season openers. Dolphins, 6 straight losses against the AFC on the road. Chargers covered 6 of their last 7 games against the AFC in September.
There you go.
So the trend lines favor them.
The only concern I have, Miami did win back-to-back road debut games at the start of the season. So they won week 1 in 2021, and then they won against the Ravens in week 2 last season. So the road spot for the Miami Dolphins isn't really my concern, but the only advantage Miami really could take the only advantage I could see them utilizing is a run game, because the Chargers were really bad last season. They were the 5th worst in the league in yards allowed. They were the worst in yards per carry on average, but Miami doesn't really have a strong run game to begin with. I mean, I don't even know who their running back is at this point. Like, what? It's not Chase Edmonds. It's not Raheem Mostert.
No. Yeah, I'm not sure.
At this point, and we all know Tua Tagovailoa is not the best passer in the league. I know he has Tyreek Hill. I think this could be competitive. I'm looking forward to this game, but at the same time, we saw this game last season. The Chargers beat them. Why should I think things are going to change? I don't see it. That's my opinion. Look, hopefully I'm wrong. I love seeing the Chargers lose. I don't hate Miami that much, but I'm not a fan of Tua. So either way, no skin off my back, but my play is the Chargers. I will say with Tua returning over 50.5, which is it's a big number, but I think for Justin Herbert, I think for this Chargers offense, now that they're fully revitalized and healthy, when they had Keenan Allen on the field, Keenan Allen was still a fucking stud for these guys. And I think they're going to score a lot more points. Now that, Josh Palmer's back. Mike Williams is back.
Endorse.
Austin Eckler.
They were talking about Kellen Moore, a lot more big plays for the Chargers, where they were more of a dink and dunk offense last year. Yeah, endorse. I agree. Over.
And also with the Dolphins, too. Tyreek Hill is always a threat.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. So over 50.5 is my play there.
100%.
All right. Money Mansman. We're on to Sunday Night Football. It's a big one. We got the Dallas Cowboys. They're traveling to MetLife. Sunday night, New York Giants. Giants are 3.5-point road dogs. They're plus 140. At home, not Giants. Cowboys are minus 166. Over-unders at 46.5. My turn, I believe. This was originally, surprise, surprise, this was my best bet originally. But when I looked at the Ravens and I looked at who they were playing, I fell for the Barney Bester, and I thought that was more of a realistic and obvious play compared to this game. But this is a great play as well. The Cowboys have gone 10-4 ATS versus the G-Men with Dak Prescott. Dak's won 10 in a row straight up. He's covered 3 of his last 4 against the Giants. The Thanksgiving game was a sort of backdoor cover where they clearly had won. They probably should have got the cover, but the defense gave it up at the last minute. Dak Prescott's only 2 losses against the Giants were his rookie season. The Giants, they were one of the teams that we faded this year, and, as far as our futures go, this is just the catalyst of that handicap. They're awful on week 1. I know they won last year. They were 0-3 at home, 1-4 straight up against the Cowboys on week 1 since Dak Prescott came into play. Daniel Jones, 1 win in primetime games. It does happen to be Sunday night. That was the Commies game, which, if you remember, was controversial because it came down to a Terry McLaurin.
Oh, yeah. The Terry McLaurin non-PR.
No, it wasn't. It was offsides or ineligible receiver. Yeah. Something weird. Then they had a touchdown with it was illegal formation. They ran a touchdown in, but it was called back for illegal formation.
Yeah.
So, and then they had a missed pass interference on 4th down. Daniel Jones in games that start at 4:25 or later.
Oh, Jesus.
3-14. 3-22 straight up since 2019.
He's becoming Kirk Cousins.
Now, both wins did occur last season.
Not against the Cowboys.
But it was not against this Cowboys. Yeah, in the same ATS span where, they did all right towards the end of last season, they only won 2 of their last 9 straight up on the road. And they were both in 1-score, last-minute drive possession games. And it came down to some sort of nonsense. But, I'll get to this point. Daniel Jones, he's bad against Dallas. He's not good. Dak Prescott, I know he's not the best quarterback either. He thrives in these games against the Giants. And if you think Saquon's going to be the answer to this, he finally, signed the 1-year deal. He hasn't cracked 100 rushing yards in Dallas since 2019. It's been 8 games. He averages 58 rushing yards. He's only scored 3 times, despite it being in the last 2 games. Dallas is the play. Giants were down on to begin with. I think we said that in the Futures episode. This is just where it starts. And whoever put Daniel Jones in all these primetime games, go fuck yourself. That was the dumbest fucking move. I guarantee you by the 4th primetime game for Daniel Jones, it gets flexed. Because we already know it's going to be a loss. So Dallas, minus 3.5, minus 166. Money Mansmann, what's your play?
Yeah, so you covered a lot of it. Definitely on Dallas here. We talked about primetime Daniel Jones, or you talked about primetime Daniel Jones. So that's obvious. And yeah, I mean, Dallas just has the Giants number. I think it was, I forgot what it was now. But no, I mean, there's not really much for me to say. You really covered all the numbers. I think this Dallas team comes into New York. I think they beat a team that sort of had a good year last year, but played a really weak schedule. I think the Cowboys are just better. And the real sort of shock on DraftKings, -3, -118, you could get Dallas.
No.
Yeah. So you
all
can
right.
get Dallas at
right now, double best bet. Yeah, I'm hammering that.
Yeah. So
that I have to take that
Dallas
now.
Cowboys -3. I think that's a really low line for a Cowboys team. I think it's going to be better than the Giants.
Yeah, no, if Mansmann did a double best bet, that's my double best bet. Yeah, Dallas -3, -118. That's a lock. Are you I'm pulling this up now. You got
Yeah, you could go in.
Yeah, you were not kidding. Holy shit.
Oh, that's
Oh, no, it's minus 170, but it is. Oh, yeah, minus 3, minus 118. Yeah.
Yeah, -3, -118. So a little bit lean to the Dallas side, but yeah, I would jump on that because I think that's
And even,
easy mugga.
yeah, and Ravens minus 10. Yeah, dude, I might. That could be a parlay right there. Holy hell.
That's easy mugga right there.
Yeah, 2.5 to 1. Yeah, that's a lock. Yeah, double best bet, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I got the under in this one because
As do I, but let me hear your
I don't
logic.
think the Giants are going to score that much. Daniel Jones has not performed well in primetime. The numbers are there. You read them out. It's real simple. The Giants do not play well against Dallas. Sunday Night Football. It seems like, how many times has Dallas beaten the Giants to start the season? Like, it just seems like this game happens all the time and Dallas always wins.
How many times have we seen Daniel Jones in primetime and he fucking fails?
Like,
I mean,
almost every time. 3 and 22 out of the 1 p.m. slot. So, yeah. No, 100%. I think Dallas under.
which to be fair, like one of those was a playoff game against Minnesota where they choked, which, believe it or not, I think you did call, but I don't get where we're going to just start betting on Daniel Jones all of a sudden just because, like, recency bias.
Especially against the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, like, let him prove me wrong first before I think about betting on him. But till then, no, not doing it. All right, we said over under. We're taking the under 46.5 here. For me, I think Dallas's defense is just going to take advantage of this. I know the Giants got Darren Waller.
I mean, he'll have 5 catches for 60
What
yards.
do?
He'll get his 8 points for fantasy.
I mean, will he get 8 points? He might get like 8 targets. Daniel Jones has to like.
Daniel Jones might airmail 4 of them.
Like, we got Darren Waller. Who's their star wide receiver?
They don't have one.
Well, yeah, no, they traded him. It was Kadarius Toney. They traded him to the Chiefs.
They got Jalen Hyatt.
I mean, what is it?
Not
Like
even gonna get on
Golden Tate?
Isaiah Hodgins. Who
Isaiah
they picked off.
I'm trying to.
The Bills cut him, and he became a star. What? That's happened.
I'm trying to think. Who are the Giants' wide receivers?
Isaiah Hodgins. Richie James.
Golden Tate?
No.
No.
No, they got no.
Be careful saying Tate on YouTube, Steve.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Last game.
game.
Speaking of MetLife.
All right, so back to MetLife Monday night. The Buffalo Bills make their season debut. They're going up against Aaron, immunized from winning, Rodgers, the ghost of Green Bay, now a New York Jet. All right, the Jets are currently, at least on DraftKings, the Jets are currently 2.5 point home underdogs, plus 120. The Bills are minus 142. I got minus 138 on FanDuel.
I'm surprised the Jets aren't favored.
Over-unders at 46.5 on DraftKings. It was 47 on FanDuel. Money Mansmann, it's your team. Do us the honors. Your Bills, week 1, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
It's sad because once upon a time, this was like my best bet. And then the Bills really kind of had a yucky preseason and sort of scared me off of it. To me, the Jets are just so overrated. I don't think Robert Saleh, I'm not sold on him as a good coach. I know a lot of it was blamed on quarterback.
Does he have a winning record?
No.
Okay.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the same Aaron Rodgers that... I mean, this was a guy who lost in Detroit in primetime to not make the playoffs. And now...
Well, hold on. Let's go back 3 years. 4 years. 2019. MVP. This was the same Aaron Rodgers who lost to Jimmy G in the playoffs.
Got smoked by Jimmy G.
Got smoked.
Yeah.
So 2020, the COVID year. Got smoked in the playoffs. I'm trying to think.
He lost to Tom Brady.
He lost to Tom Brady.
That field goal.
That's right. He went like 5 and out. Like he had 5 chances.
And then last year was an abomination. He was dreadful. Literally fucking hemorrhaging money betting on the Packers last year. And the Bills, this is how crazy it's been. 14, is it against the Jets? I think it's the AFC East in general. Oh, hold on.
Might be the AFC East.
14 of their last 16 against the AFC East, their last 5. Now, they did lose to the Jets in New York last year. This is different. Primetime Josh Allen, he's going to come to play. I think the Bills are going to play with a chip on their shoulder because now, all of a sudden, the Bills have been relegated to the trash heap of history. I think the Bills are going to come out strong, and I want to fade the Jets every chance I get. I think they're so incredibly overrated. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the MVP that people are expecting. So, I don't have a lot of confidence in it, but maybe this is part of a fan bet. But I would bet the Bills are nothing here because I really think the Bills could come out strong on prime time to make a statement when everyone has sort of written them off like the whole offseason.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, wasn't Aaron Rodgers immunized from winning last year?
Terribly.
And then he went to the Jets, who were also, like... This was a Jets team who had literally the playoffs in their hands. They were doing so well. And then Robert Saleh, remembered who he was. And
that's the thing I think, that's a good point. I think people forget that, that defense was not as good in the latter part of the season as they were towards the middle of the season.
No. I mean, look, I highly doubt that Aaron Rodgers got de-immunized. I highly doubt that him going to the Jets is going to change anything. I mean, Josh Allen had his struggles, but last I checked, he beat the shit out of Rodgers and company last year when they played Green Bay.
And also, too, a lot of that's explained away. Supposedly he had that UCL injury for most of the year. That injury to his elbow.
Oh, well, why not? Why doesn't he just smoke some ayahuasca and go on a fucking weekend retreat with, his teammates and talk about how bad, Moderna is? Maybe that'll help him with his UCL. Not like modern medicine has ever helped him. Or maybe, the doctor just needs to give him 500 milligrams of Oxy.
I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers reminds me so much.
Ketamine, those
yeah, get some
ketamine
ketamine treatments. I mean, what are you doing?
Aaron Rodgers just reminds me so much of Russell Wilson last year. I just could see it. I really can.
But also, too, you talk about the Bills lost to the Jets. The Bills rebounded from that. They beat the shit out of them the second time around. They
won 5 straight against the East. So
I don't. And Josh Allen 3-1 in MetLife, 5 of the last 6 he's won against the Jets. 2-1 in Week 1 in road games, 6-2 in the last 8 road games against the Jets. The Jets haven't played Monday Night Football since 2020, which, by the way, they lost to make it their 3rd in a row.
Now, Aaron Rodgers is a primetime quarterback, but that was...
Yeah, but you know who's not primetime? Do you know who's not primetime?
Who?
Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, yeah.
This fucking loser, offensive coordinator, somehow got fired as a head coach, but gets promoted to offensive coordinator. And I say promotion because
he shouldn't even have a job.
He shouldn't even have a job. Do you remember his last Monday Night Football performance? I'll tell you how it ended. 2-minute drill. They wasted a minute and a half on the 40 fucking yard line on their own, own 44 or 46. They finally call timeout to send Brandon McManus to kick a 64-yarder in Seattle. And then they fucking shanked it. Am I missing something? Or is this shit so obvious that, this should be our dual best bet? The Bills are, are you kidding? 2.5? That's it? Stephon Diggs came back.
Yeah, so
last I'm checking. Last I checked, he's locked in. Last I checked, Josh Allen's, pretty pissed off.
Robert, I almost said Robert Woods. Fucking, what's his name? The goddamn, oh my God.
I mean, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis, best shape of his life. Dalton Kincaid,
as you said, remember the name, Dalton.
The question is, what's the Bills? And this will just FYI overplay. I don't know what the Bills' defense is going to look like, and I could see.
I
could see 2 primetime quarterbacks coming to play, but I'm not betting against primetime.
No Leslie Frazier.
No Leslie. We might look better. Our defense may pitch a shutout. Honestly.
Man, I I am concerned, no Leslie Frazier. That is the one thing I've heard Sharps talking about, is that Leslie Frazier somehow actually made the Bills better.
No. Okay. Hold on. Mr. Dip and Dunk, Mr. Let's give up fucking Hail Murray. Let's give up 16 seconds to fucking Patrick Mahomes.
13 seconds.
That guy. And there was a former Vikings player who was like, yeah, Leslie Frazier basically is like the worst coach in football. Like, this guy sucks. I'm glad he's gone. He needs to retire. His year-long retreat. He needs to retreat to the bottom of the ocean in a fucking submarine so he can't go back to Buffalo. This guy sucks.
Yeah, I remember a lot of those plays.
His defense looked great in the fucking snow against Cincinnati when they couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Oh, in the DeMar Hamlin ghost game when DeMar Hamlin, his body double.
Literally, the DeMar Hamlin. It's so bad, too. Okay, just a quick aside because we're at the end. Steve and I are watching the game. And we're like, watch, people won't believe that's DeMar Hamlin because of the snow. And sure enough, we look on Twitter like...
Oh, no, when we watched the video, we're like, oh, that's DeMar Hamlin. He's waving. And we're like,
people will say it's not him.
We were watching, we're like, there's no way.
And sure enough, the conspiracy theories on fucking online. Oh, that's not really DeMar Hamlin. That's just a body double.
Mind you, he's back this season. Like, it's clearly him.
He'll be the starting safety when Jordan Poyer gets hurt again.
All right, yeah. I lean over 47 because Aaron Rodgers is, you can't count him out. And mind you, like the Sharps thinking with this Jets team, I think there is some precedence there, which was they were a really good team with Zach Wilson, and he's not even a good NFL quarterback. Which, I'll bring this point up from Hard Knocks. There was a film study session. I don't know if you saw this. They made Zach Wilson identify whether it was a read or whether it was going to be a pass. And they were all Aaron Rodgers plays. And he went like 3 for 3, 4 for 4. And it wasn't even a second in. He was just like, oh, yeah, pass. And Rodgers was like, how the hell do you know that? And he goes, isn't it that obvious? Like, it's pretty clear. Like, and my concern is that, like, if Zach Wilson can see that kind of shit, like, are the Bills just going to have
What scares me is, when the Jets had Mike White, their defense still fell apart. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I don't think Robert Saleh is a good coach.
No, he is garbage. He is hot garbage.
And I think people forget, like, Nathaniel Hackett. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, they got Nathaniel Hackett as offensive. Like, this is the guy who almost ruined Russell Wilson's career last year. But that's forgotten.
God, not only did he almost ruin Russell Wilson's career, like, he was the second head coach in Broncos history to be fired midseason. Which is a rarity, like, on its own. Forget the Broncos, to be fired midseason.
And I don't mind, like, there are coordinators who are bad head coaches, but, like, Vic Fangio. He wasn't a good head coach. How was his defense? Did his defense give up, like, 50 points a game?
The Denver Broncos were the best defense last year. They gave up, like, some of the fewest points. But Russ and Nathaniel Hackett were so bad. They lost 11 games, 12 games. Like, it was just so unreal. I don't get how you could be high on this Jets team with Nathaniel Hackett. Robert Saleh.
I just think a lot of the bad stuff about the Jets late in the season has just kind of been written off to Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson was sort of a horse's ass. But how about that defense that literally, like, the Jets in that rain game in Jacksonville when they gave up like 24 points to Jacksonville in the pouring rain at home.
Oh, God.
Like, Seattle, when Seattle ran up and down the field. The Minnesota game, when Mike White, they scored 20 points and they gave up 27 to lose. I think a lot of people sort of forget those games.
Yeah,
and just sort of write it off. Well, the reason we lost was Zach Wilson. Well, what about your coach, your defense that fell apart in the second half of the year?
Well, I'll circle this in. What do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do to fix all that? What did you see what he did last year? Made complaints, I can tell you that.
I think he's going to be close.
He made a lot of excuses.
I think he's going to be close to Mike White, honestly. And especially if there were offensive line struggles and Rodgers is getting pressured, like, I could see a collapse.
I could see Aaron Rodgers making excuses by week 3. By week 6, 7, Robert Saleh.
All I'm saying is the Jets better not have a bad game because like everything's been hunky dory. You think Rodgers is gonna not start throwing people under the bus?
Oh, that's the first thing he'll do.
Mad? Yeah.
Which, by the way, for fucking Aaron Rodgers, for a guy who was trying to get a fresh head start, seemed to have brought a lot of his issues with him in New York.
Yeah,
Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. And then, like, he does a fucking smoking a joint celebration with Garrett Wilson, but then he overthrows him every other play. Do you think Garrett Wilson's, like, fucking not taking the blame for that? No, Garrett Wilson's going to take all that shit. Garrett Wilson might get benched if shit's not played right because it's Aaron Rodgers. And that's just, I could just see this demise happening.
God, I
could see this happening. All the rookies get blamed. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. Robert Saleh gets fired halfway through the season. Nathaniel Hackett's interim head coach. I can see this now.
I swear to God, I want the Bills to. This might be the most I want the Bills because I just want to see what happens with the Jets. Like, I don't buy for a minute this hunky dory all in Aaron Rodgers. Like, my guess is if the Bills go and get up early, that the Jets fucking completely collapse.
So
They be getting booed.
if you can find this market out there, folks, and this is what I'll leave it on this. If you can get a market where it's the Jets' last team to win an NFL game, I think you should hammer it now.
They have a really tough schedule, too.
It is horribly tough, and I think the Texans could win a game before this Jets team.
I'm telling you, man, they lose this game. Oh, baby.
Well, no, I think it'll be how they lose, not if they lose. I think if it's a close field goal tight game and Rodgers loses, they'll excuse it. If they lose like 50-0, it would be Armageddon.
Fucking dancing. So.
All right, we're gonna go through our favorites, and then we're gonna end the episode here, folks. Thank you for checking us out. Check out the Harbor Discussions channel out on YouTube. It's producer John's channel where he interviews a bunch of hardcore bands from local area of Maryland. Check us out at the Distinguished DJs podcast, now on Spotify. I forget their YouTube channel, but we are on YouTube, and we are also on X, which was formerly Twitter, at DJs Podcast.
Yep.
All right, Money Mansmann, best bets, any other props you want to throw out there?
Yeah, so my co-best bet, Philadelphia Eagles, 3.5 to 4. Minnesota Vikings, -6. Love both of those plays. Over in the Jaguars Colts game. I believe you had it at 45.
45.5.
45.5, okay. Expecting a lot of turnovers there. And then my dog of the week, Pittsburgh Steelers, +2.5.
Right on. All right, here we go. Big Bucks Beta's best plays. Dog of the week, Tennessee Titans, +140. Best bet, Ravens, -10. Fade of the week, Pittsburgh Steelers, +2.5, +118 on the money line. Over of the week, Tampa Bay, Minnesota game, over 45.5. Under of the week, under 47.5 for the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. With that said, I am your co-host, Steve Big Bucks Beta. Across from me, Jason Money Mansmann, producer John here at the last second.
Yo.
All right, we are signing off. Thank you for joining us, guys.
And as always, make that motherfucking money.
Yes, sir. Peace out.